Alright, so we got the follow-up stream all set up. See who's going to be here. What's up, Plasma Gun? How's it going? I was enjoying seeing your art and all the coloring you've been doing. Keep up the good work. How are you doing today? How's everyone else present? Bud, what's going on? Saying that I'll think about World Trigger. Is the Acorn character regular? I read Mashal. I'm caught up on Mashal. I'm caught up on the manga of Mashal. I've been caught up for a while. What chapter actually number? I think it's what, like in the 50s? I actually don't know what the number is though off the top of my head. Because it came out, I think, right around Undead Unluck. But I guess I definitely don't know the date. Are there any volumes released in English yet? Because I'm definitely going to buy some. I'll definitely buy the first volume when it comes out. Probably not, because Chainsaw Man's only at like volume 3. And Mashal is only like, what, like in the 40s to 50s or something. Probably not going to have chapters out yet. So, Jared Punch, how are you? Quite early, am I? Like, usually I stream a little bit later on Saturdays. I decided to switch to more of the evening streams. So, for a while I was doing like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then I was doing like 3 o'clock. But I think somewhere around like 4 to 5 is probably the best. Just the best general time. I think this is the most comfortable time to do these streams. Everyone else has already pretty much kind of like done their thing. It's late enough in the day that everyone's kind of had their whatever interactions online, so it might become something to kind of just to converse with all here. Any internet drama, we can talk about any events of the day and stuff like that. I was thinking of doing some versus match stuff, posting some stuff later today, but I'd have to look and figure out who to do. And that's, I think one of the things I really was thinking about doing is because like people like to bring up like versus stuff in the streams, is like if maybe like good ones in the stream like that we can discuss like after on Twitter, and then I can just do, you know, take the characters if it's like a good matchup, take them, post it in a little versus template, and then just post it on Twitter and see what people have to say about it, and then continue the meat of the conversation kind of over there when we end up getting to it. Let me read some of the comments. The Acorn is very powerful. I told you, I might check it out. I like the little Acorn girl. She kind of reminds me of Charmy just looking at her. She's really strong. She looks like that. It definitely gives me some Charmy vibes. Good to see you again. Oh, what's up, Telly? How's it going? Yeah, Bud 50. Yeah, 51. Because I think that's like 52 or 3 within the Undead Unluck. They're saying around that number. And I'm trying to remember when Chainsaw Man's first volume came out, because that was, at least I think, the most recent new series that I was looking forward to seeing a release in English for. And so I think it was December. Somewhere in like December that its first volume. Actually, no, because it had to be. God, when was it? I think it was December, because there's only, is it 2 or 3 volumes out now, or sometimes just kind of in the end of the year. I don't know the exact date though off the top of my head. I'm sure I can look it up, but I'm guessing that maybe we might get one for Mashal within. Actually, didn't they announce it? I think they announced it recently when they had that big wave of just like stuff getting licensed, and I think Mashal got announced for it. Same thing with like Kaiju number 8. That's actually another one too. I'm definitely gonna buy the Kaiju volume when it comes out. 1 week behind Undead Unluck, and not until April, May. And it's only 1 week behind. I know, that's pretty good. Usually you don't have series like successes in Shonen Jump back to back like that. That's pretty cool. I have really been enjoying Mashal. I think it's been a really fun series, and I like the cast. But I like that it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot, and I know a lot of people have compared it to like One Punch Man, but it has more of a plot than One Punch Man. And I personally like, I like Mash more than Saitama. I think Mash is a much more likable character, at least in my opinion. So I've been pretty happy reading it so far. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Just chilling. So I asked a question in the Discord for repeat. Do you think Mira Jane can handle E&D or proof? No, she would get destroyed. Any variation of E&D is killing Mira Jane. For some reason, I got the stream notification a little late. It happens. What's up, though, Gene? How are you today? And just because I haven't done it yet, just anybody in the stream would really appreciate it, you know, thumbsing up the video, liking the stream, subscribing if you haven't, and all donations, any donations that people want to give are you know, they're appreciated, they're required, but like I said, it's more of like it's more of just kind of like a tip, the way that I pictured, you know, throwing like $1 my way in conversation. Of just keeping you entertained versus whatever in the background you're listening me to. That I don't assume I think the best way to kind of like keep it up is like if you're playing a game and maybe you just wanted to hear something in the back doing chores or whatever. Just the chill conversational streams. There are not a million things going on. Let me see. I think then I'm looking Masher about 2 to 3 weeks apart. Apparently only 1 chapter. I was disappointed when Happy Carl and Urs would so easily. But that was the point, though. That's what people forget. Is that like upset? You're like, damn, I wanted to see the fight and the hype got cut short. That was the point. That was what Mishima was doing, because it wasn't it wasn't supposed to be a fight chapter. I thought it was going to be a fight chapter personally, and like I've said on Twitter and I've talked about it, the general idea of like wanting to see the fights is cool, but just from the fighting aspect of it. I'm much more interested in seeing Selene's character because the chapter itself was way more of a Selene character moment. Because that same upside was like, damn, I miss seeing, this fight moment. That was how Selene felt as well. It was supposed to make Selene's personality more relatable. Well, not her personality, but the outcome and like having the same expectation. She wanted that battle. She wanted the action of it. And she didn't get it, and now she's upset. So we're seeing again another side to Selene. We're seeing a bored Selene, and where that's gonna go. So, and I'm gonna save some stuff to talk about just because I have a bunch of videos I have planned up and coming about just some of the characters active, as well as a new video series I want to do, which I can tell you that one. That one's easy. I'm gonna do one just like on categories of characters, but it's gonna be kind of like listing them from their abilities, and I'm gonna list them from like from weakest to strongest. Like if we were gonna talk about spatial people, you'd start with what's the girl's name, Katja or whatever, the one from the Starry Sky arc that summoned the little Canis Minor that was like I think he was a green blue, and then you'd end with Selene, like Selene at the very top. So Rax asked me on Nebel's AG moments or Carla's AG moments. I'm gonna go. I'd probably go Carla just because like what's his name? I can't remember. I always forget that kid's name just because of the different translations. Nebel's like his was weird because it was like if Romeo got the moment instead, just because he wasn't like a fighting character right before that, or at least for the most part. Like he knew magic, but he wasn't as combat set for what was going on, and then just kind of like that happened. It was more surprising, I'd say, with his, but I liked Shelly as better, just because obviously we had more about her character at the time of. I missed the stream an hour ago. That's okay. It should be on there still. We're doing main character power stream, like which ones are coolest and stuff. I did that with RTL Faith. If you want to go check that, because he was having computer issues with his laptop, so we're gonna do his stream for his podcast stuff on mine, and then at some point give him the file for it so he can upload it. Help him out since he's had some. I've experienced the sudden computer problems and they suck ass, so just doing him a solid. Would Natsu versus Naruto be a good matchup? It really depends, because like just the general gaps of like some of their forms, and then like we've seen peak Naruto, but unfortunately for peak Naruto you can only use once ever and then it's done. Whereas like Natsu isn't done. Natsu is still going. Like we haven't even seen like once Natsu gets further up to a point of like where like he can fight dragon gods like on equal by himself. That's gonna be like probably Natsu at his pinnacle, but we aren't there yet. And if you want to like go off of strongest versus strongest, I'm gonna go with the Aetherius Dragon Force, so whatever form you want to call it. I'm gonna continue to call it Aetherius Dragon Force just because it's a form that it's very obvious the combinations of powers it was. It just doesn't have an official name yet, or like official stating of his Aetherius, but I'm just gonna keep calling it that. Regardless of that, that one is just broken on top of being an absurdly ridiculous multiplier. One of the things about Selene is that it doesn't talk about enough is that she's one of the few female main characters Mishima has made. Yeah, she's the main villain. And Kurenai was like a main arc villain, but Kurenai wasn't like Selene's status, because we know that like Kurenai got punked by Draken Joe, a much bigger villain, but nonetheless like female focused main villain. And Selene though is just she's one of the biggest villains in the series, and she's one of the most powerful beings like in their history. Like she's a big deal, and on top of that, like I really like that she's been very active this arc. And as much as I would have really liked to see a chapter, I was gonna say episode, a chapter that focuses on like Gray getting his advanced magic and Elentier, or just the Yokai Urza fight. It would just be pretty much for fights for Urza, and then the stuff with Gray we're gonna end up seeing later anyway. But like I care much more about Selene's character getting fleshed out, finding more about Selene. Because also at the end of the day, the yokai stuff was a subplot. Like it was just like an additional sudden little story bit that Selene caused, and seeing it affect Selene, I think is much more important for the story than just getting a fight, because we're gonna get fights anyway. Like we haven't even had the characters meet up with the Dragon Eaters now. We haven't even seen Suzaku fight. We haven't seen the Moonlit Beauty Gods in like a otherwise, like other than like the kind of opening display they did. We haven't seen them in like full on fights. We haven't seen it. They're the only Moonlit Beauty Gods. There's a lot more still coming up that is just like, yes, I would have loved to see the Yokai Urza form fight, just because it looked cool, but it would have literally just been for the sake of, you know, a fight rather than the plot advancing, or in the addition of, like I said, seeing more of Selene's character, because that is ultimately the more important thing, in my opinion. I think getting the villain, like one of the biggest villains in the series, the main villain right now, seeing more to her is more valuable to the arc itself. Because it's kind of like how we had like the Gajeel and Natsu fight, and it's like, it was short, it was kind of cool, but it's like, we didn't have to have that. It ended up giving us like some nice little character moments between like Natsu and Gajeel, as well as Levi. But after that, we still got like a really crazy fight. Like it wasn't long after that we got like stuff like like Laxus and Urza fight, which people have said like arguably is one of the better fights in like the whole series. Like the choreography is really good. The fight was good on both sides. The art was really nice. But sometimes it's just people being impatient, which I can understand because I myself am pretty impatient. But people you gotta think about it really at the end of the day, of like what other things besides it being a fight was there, and then it wasn't even like a big part in the plot. So I mean, like, as long as, like I said, we get stuff to make up for it. If the prediction that I have that who Ferris sees at the Whiteout Village is Suzaku, and the next chapter maybe we get to see like a couple cool moves from Suzaku and the Dragon Eaters, people are going to completely forget about Yokai Urza, because Yokai Urza at the end of the day was just cool looking. You put them up side by side, I can guarantee people are going to be, outside of just like the basic design, because Yokai Urza looks really cool, who would they rather see though is like a Spider Urza or a brand new Dragon Eater who's got all this hype, who's got this badass sword. I mean, come on. Mira could not handle ED. Absolutely not. She would get just demolished. That's one of the reasons why the argument of Mira Jane versus Gray is so ridiculous. Because if Mira Jane could take Gray, it would mean that she would have to be a bigger threat than the E&D that Natsu fought. And that one demolished Demaria, which we know just like, it wouldn't make sense on a power level standpoint. It wouldn't make sense on a narrative standpoint. And it wouldn't make sense on just a basic way that that demon slaying and devil slaying works if for some reason he's not getting all these gigantic advantages over a demon. Because we know Mira Jane, though she is human at her core, she has demon aspects from from how her magic works, and on top of that, she does have demon devil based magic. Like on top of that, like we've seen that like her upper forms are based off of the Aetherius forms, which I'm actually really curious if she still has them, because like Zeref obviously died, so is she still able to activate them like in like just at all? Because it maybe if Zeref, like, because I've always assumed that Zeref dying meant that all of his creations are gone. That's one of the reasons I think that Natsu's living link went to Lucy and not and isn't on him anymore. Isn't on Zeref. Like it went from Zeref to Lucy during the part when she was messing with his book, because that is a way that Natsu obviously would still be alive, and we saw it. It makes sense of how it goes, and it seems to also be hinted at when he when Lucy was able to stop his Aetherius, like again quote unquote Aetherius, because it bugs me out when people say it's like you're trying to say like it is 100%, and I'm like, sort of, but not really, because like I know it hasn't been dead out like outright stated, but I feel like it's kind of obvious of what that form was that he that was clad on top of Dragon Force when he fought Mercephobia. Let me get to some of these comments. So saw Selene, I clicked. Good man there, you boy Magic. I'm cooking Four Knights of the Apocalypse series, but since it's only 5 chapters, I better wait. I've been enjoying Four Knights of the Apocalypse. I was actually like right before this, like giving RTL Faith a disapproval look, because he said he didn't read past chapter 1, and I like Four Knights of the Apocalypse. I think it's been pretty solid so far. I've liked the characters. I've liked the general kind of vibe that it has, and I like Percival within the first few chapters more than I liked Meliodas in the first few chapters. Because I like Meliodas overall, but like Meliodas, when it came to Meliodas, I always liked him more for his character interactions more than his fights. Because most of his fights were just like him stomping the living hell out of his opponents. And then anybody that he didn't stomp, like we found out he just was holding back, or he wasn't accessing his full power. It just wasn't, it didn't feel the same, whereas like Percival has like potential height, but he doesn't have the experience or the knowledge of his own powers to where it kind of balances it out to where he's not OP. And I like that about Percival so far. I think he's been a pretty interesting main character over the first 5 chapters of the series. And I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the main cast on top of that. I enjoy Nakaba's style. I just wasn't a huge fan of the end of Seven Deadly Sins. Just from some of the ways that I think that the bigger events, some of the bigger events kind of like fell, but it wasn't like what you get in a lot of series, like when you get the same style of like things are either moving fast or events are kind of getting really weird on like a storytelling standpoint, because it wasn't like when Acnologia's fight was way shorter than it should have been. I was always happy that the anime extended it out, but like the Demon King had hit like 30 something chapters of being like straight the boss active, and it's like you got a few, like you essentially got the first fight with him, and then like the rematch that they had, and everything that kind of like followed with that. But it's like he just kind of got beat up for like 30 chapters. And if it was like rushed and it was over the course of like 5-6 chapters, I'd be like, oh, that sucks, but it's understandable. But I don't really know. I really am enjoying Four Knights of the Apocalypse so far, and I hope more people end up checking it out. Which arc has more potential for novel canonization, Viernes or Ignia? Probably Ignia, because Ignia is gonna want to try and do personal stuff to like mess with Natsu. Selene is now Vonica, asserting dominance. She is. I really liked that when Yoko could tell that Selene was just upset, and it wasn't like she's upset that like she didn't get to fight. It was just basically that she's bored. It was way more at the fun. It was way more about how she felt rather than how things turned out. And Yoko was just sweating bullets. She was terrified of what was happening, because it just builds up, again, Selene's hype and Selene's level of presence. And I have really enjoyed that. And again, it also showed more to her character. You think Mishima wanted to make us empathize with Selene? Yeah, so the whole point was, like, they even had Happy and Carla, like, comment on it. And it was like, in the end, Urza was just used for, like, a punchline. And it's like, yeah, the whole point was, like, when you got that point of, like, these fights suddenly are, we're not getting them, that sucks, man, I wanted to see these battles. That's how Selene felt. Like, Selene was bored. She didn't get what she wanted, and that's why, like, it was the whole point of how things were going. We got this very, artificial setup. Like, this wasn't like they ran into some opponents that they were like on the same mission, like with Diablos or anything. This was all set up by Selene. This was Selene essentially like picking up all these pieces on a game board and then, doing with that she pleases to do. Like, she set all this up in a specific way, and it didn't turn out the way she wanted, and that's ultimately upset her. And now the same thing that people were feeling, she got through. So it just gives her more of a side that you can understand about who she is. And again, it's done in a simple way, because think about the people who wanted the fights. They just wanted, like, for the most part, they just wanted the fights, because fights are cool. It's done in a much more at the core level. Like, when she says it, again, it wasn't that her plan failed. It was that she was bored. She didn't like it. She didn't like what was happening. Let's see. It's funny, to this day, we still don't know shit about Viernes. It's been nearly 2 years. Yeah, we'll get to him. I'm pretty sure that Selene is going to be the one that gets us to Viernes information. Rex, I think Shikuma Ragru is the most evil character he created, because not only did he start a war, he tortured the King of Symphonia and wanted to erase the world. I think it probably, like, I kind of think it was Mueller. I think Mueller, like, at his level, like, at his core, is just a vile human being in all aspects. And it wasn't like some ultimate kind of goal. Like, it seemed like he just liked to do it. And, like, he would just add extra layers of just doing it to do it. It's really weird because it's kind of like how you can have someone like Zero, is you can have, like, a character just be kind of like Mueller, where he's just a bad, horrible person. But Mishima ended up kind of taking him and giving him more of a plot story. It's kind of like what Tabata is doing with Morris, because it's that kind of same style where you wouldn't expect a character like this to have way more story relevance, and I think Mueller way more so, because on top of just like the stuff where he's in the story, he's also gross. He's very creepy, and you would expect him to be one of those characters that's just, you know, one and done. But I'm assuming he's gonna come back at some point. We'll see. Let me see. Naruto lost his best powers. Now it's stronger for real. Still getting stronger. Yep, 100%. You know, Naruto could train now with the 6 pass. He's not going to do it. There's no way they're going to have him lose Kurama and then have him give him something better, like, over the course of a couple months. Walter and Selene are written similar so far. There's a bunch of, like, small similarities I've seen, but, like, in 100 Years Quest to, like, kind of, like, certain turns with previous arcs. Like, this feels... There's very strong feelings in this arc to stuff like Sirius Island. And like stuff on like Sirius Island, when you think about the setup of this and like the way that's going, kind of like how Sirius Island and obviously Edalus, kind of like, because Alderaan's arc had like a good amount of feels to the Fighting Festival for obvious reasons, and then the Erasion Seis arc. And again, I've really liked that so far, because it's doing it where you can kind of see like a little bit of the same vibe, but done in a completely different way with like completely different story pieces going on. I've been really enjoying that about 100 Years Quest. Like, it still feels like the series as well. Like, it's not one of those sequels, kind of like the unfortunateness of Boruto, or sometimes Boruto just doesn't feel like Naruto. And just some of the tones, I don't really know. Same thing with like Super, but 100 Years Quest has done a really good job at feeling like a continuation, because that's one of the things also about the game that was really good, is because Mishima worked very adjacent to it, so a lot of the interactions and stuff that was going on felt like it, you know, it was something out of the official, rather than stuff that like people who are just making the game decided like what they think, like how it could go down. So what's up, Louis JR? How's it going, man? Do you think we'll ever see Null Unison raid? Yeah, I think so. We'll probably get it like within the next arc or two. Like we could easily get it this arc on top of that. Yami versus Gojo, who do you think could win? I still personally think that Yami would win, because one, Yami has faster reactions. He's got way more combo setup abilities. Because that's, like I've said it before, Yami's best thing is just the way that his spells all combo together into setup. And the unfortunate thing about Satoru is similar to how Dante would get screwed over by something like if you put Dante against Margear and Margear casts Memento Mori, Dante would probably be cocky enough to think he can survive it and not really, like, without even really knowing what it is. Like, he seems to be kind of like a trial and error. Like, we saw that with anti-magic. He had to get hit by it first before he just started to take caution to it. And that would just lead into him getting erased, like, if you hit him with something with Memento Mori. Where with Satoru Gojo, you, like, if Yami launched Dimension Slash at him, he'd probably, like, be cocky enough to think he can take it. And I do think Dimension Slash would cut through Infinity, because Infinity is spatially based. And you can, like, it's not like it's all-powerful, all-invincible. There's that guy, I was watching Broku's video today, because he did a video on Satoru, and he was talking a bit about him. And one thing that he mentioned that I completely forgot about was in the prequel, is that the one dude, the shaman from Africa, that Whippy had, was able to, affect his infinity, because it's a curse-based spatial manipulation ability. So if you have a way to get around both those two aspects, either the curse power or the space, then she should be able to get him. So something like Yami's Dimension Slash, I feel like would cut through Infinity. By the way, Fuchs, I compared Shura to Lucia based on arrogant Sistiges, and they see themselves. I mean, a little bit, but like Shura has way more of that kind of like spoiled prince lineage, like kind of just like, hey, he's got so much power and he can just do whatever he wants because of it, but he's got the strength to back it up, that it doesn't feel the same as Lucia, because Lucia is more on the, he feels almost like he, kind of like how Jalal was, when Jalal like was near the later portions of the Tower of Heaven, and he was talking about being like the chosen one, and how he was going to be the one to usher in a world of freedom with Zareth, because that seemed to be more of Lucia's feels about how, you know, he was going to be the one to put everything in like the correct time and whatnot, and everything to go on with like the Endless. Let me see. Lance from Mashal could beat Rill for Black Clover. Well, is Lance the sword guy? Which one is he? I don't have all the names memorized for the series. Like, it's one of those ones where I can remember their names and faces and aspects about it, but like a lot of the side characters, I haven't got as hard pressed to remember. Is he the sword guy? Because that's the guy that recently got the third line. Because that guy's pretty cool. He could probably beat Rill. A very unfortunate thing about Rill is that Rill, if you don't get past, if he doesn't get past that, like, getting motivated from the get-go, you have, like, almost a free shot at him. Like, if somebody doesn't get him in that, like, actually trying hard mindset, and they're able just to get in the easy hit, you're probably going to kill him. If you got hacks or just outright strong enough to take him down in his durability. So I'd Kiss and Clean him joined. I was really happy about that, too. Gojo is severely overhyped power level. I knew that was going to happen. Like, that was one of the things. I knew he was going to get a lot of fangirls, which he has been, and people were going to overhype how strong he is, because people are going to think... It's kind of like how people think that Goku is, like, the strongest character in fiction just because it's raw power levels, so you don't go into hacks. The difference is Gojo is hacks, but, like, he doesn't have speed, and people think that he's got the best abilities. Probably haven't seen, like, other, like, crazy hacks. Like, there's a bunch of characters that can beat him. I mean, like, look at someone like Zera. Zera literally stands there, directly puts a flesh-eating virus into his brain by looking at him. Like, Gojo's strong, don't get me wrong, he's hacks. He can beat a lot of characters, but he's not, like, at the pinnacle. I think is it Elder Demon Bane or whatever, still, like, the anime with, like, the highest power levels? I don't know what it is for animes of, like, when you get to, like, some of the crazier stuff. It's been too long for me since I've, like, looked into the higher ends. I remember, like, was it 10... I don't remember the one that's 10 Muchi Yo or some shit, and then there's, like, Elder God Demon Bane and stuff. Yeah, I got my money on Yami, too, Salik. Gray fans think that they have it bad, but look at Sanji. Gray fans, it's unfortunate they gotta wait longer, because I did want to see what his advanced magic is. I'm hoping maybe, like, we'll get to see it soon. Like, if we have a scene of Lucy telling them, like, oh, I was able to use, like, an advanced magic and then explain it in L tier, and then we could see the characters experimenting with their abilities, I think that would actually be kind of cooler than just getting it mid-fight, because we don't see the characters, like, testing and experimenting with their powers enough. And that's one of those things that you would, like, it's not surprising that we don't see it a lot, because, like, most, like, the main cast is very experienced with their abilities. Like, they wouldn't probably start messing with stuff just randomly. Whereas in Ellen tier, if they have stuff that they haven't really achieved yet, it would make sense. I would actually probably, I'd be pretty happy with that if that's what we got instead. But we'll see. It's obviously up and coming, and we're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but I am hyped in the next chapter, because regardless of who this person is, like, if the person that is at the Whiteout Village is Suzaku, sweet, we get Suzaku and the other dragon or stuff. If it's a new Moonlit Beauty Guard, sweet, new character. If it's the Whiteout Priestess, sweet, we get to see the Grand Whiteout Priestess. If it's Anna, like I said, sweet, my Anna theories of how powerful she is might come true, and this is good, a good reason to have something to back it. What do you think Urza's goal plot hunters? I think she mostly just wants to be there, but like she just doesn't have to have like some personal goal. Personally, I think that what her kind of story in 100 Years is going to be is obvious. I think it's going to have to do with Jalal. That's one of the reasons I think Jalal is going to be in the in this arc. I think that at some point Selene is going to like go grab Jalal, and we're going to get some Jalal shenanigans. And then maybe my theory on Dragon Eater Jalal could happen. Who knows? either way, I don't know. I feel like it's got to happen after the whole, like, even at least Jalal showing up in the arc has to happen after the whole moment when Urza and Jalal like embraced underneath the crescent moon, like right before this arc started, right before the chapter where they went to Edelis. It's just one of those things. I feel like it'd be really weird not to have it after that chapter. Let's see. And it's been a bit. I'll make this one quicker. Just a quick shell. Really appreciate everyone who thumbs up the video, thumbs up the stream, subscribes, and any donations that people feel like, that I've earned. Like I said, much appreciated. Everything is as is a I was gonna say a tip or something like a. I guess tip is really the best way to put it. Rax Gray fans think it's... Oh, that's the Sanji one I read. Diablo should not fight Team Natsu again, because we can see it Ferg and stuff. I mean, they're obviously going to fight him, but it really just depends on who fights who and why, versus, whereas the next chapter, rather, I think that we should see, like, if it is the Dragon Eaters, I'm hoping that we get to see, like, Suzaku do some stuff, just doing stuff. Like, he doesn't have to fight anybody. Like, if... I mentioned it near the end of my review. If, like, the first thing he does is for some reason he decides to attack Ferris, and then we just get to see, like, him draw his sword, and then, like, Toka grabs Ferris and pulls her down to not get hit, and we see, like, maybe Suzaku just cleaved a bunch of the mountains, like, off in the distance, or something just badass that just is, like, a power display. Like, even if it's not a fight, just something like that would be really satisfying. Or it's just a really cool hype moment. And it would just give Suzaku such a really cool first impression, because even though we've seen him, like we got him in chapter 63, we haven't seen him do anything. So unless you count him just walking up and having his name said as a first impression, like then I guess second impression, but I obviously see his next move as what will be the first things for him, unless he just stands around and doesn't really do anything. But we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of hype coming up. I really do want to see, like, just the Dragon Eaters more. Like, I like them a lot too. Like, my favorite is definitely Scoleon, but I think all of them have been pretty interesting. And the fact that the three main ones have been reoccurring just says that, like, Mishima, this is their main force. This is the ones that we're gonna see throughout the whole 100 Years quest. To be really, or if we got to this point and then like he started switching them out. Besides the main three, the other ones can kind of tag along. Jake and Oregon. Oh, you got my money on Yami. I agree. Rax, if Jin fights the Atomic Sky Callum, that would be the perfect opportunity to have him get overdrive. I think it should be Jin. Oh, wait, no, you said Jin, didn't you? For some reason, I thought you said Weiss. But yeah, Jin fighting him would be really cool. Otherwise, the Light Guy. I think the Light Guy would probably make more... Because you have the Atomic Dude Callum, who's apparently also, like, a former mercenary. And then, but you have... what was his name? Nisei or whatever? He's got memory ability, so it would make sense if he's the one that ended up fighting him. And then you could have, like, Atomic versus Machinery, have Weiss versus Callum or something. That could also work pretty well. But we'll see. Like, those are definitely some, like, the fights are some of the ones that's always fun to theorize going into arcs, but obviously, like, they can change drastically. Like, we could get Callum versus frickin' Rebecca for all we know. Probably not, but, you know, you never know until you actually get there. Unless it's, like, a fight that is determined with the plot. Like, we know... Like, I think everyone can guess Shura versus Shiki is going to happen. But, you know, other than that, though, it should be pretty mixed. Diablo's from Unit Beauty Gods would be interesting. I don't think that the Dragon Eaters are going to have any form of real problem there. Like, they should be fine. Because outside of Hakune, like, the other, like, there's only 3 of them, so they get outnumbered 3 to 4. But, because that's one of the reasons I'm hoping there's more Moonlit Beauty Gods. But, like, what do they really have to worry about besides Hakune? Like, Yoko and Mimi aren't very strong in comparison to, like, the hacks that the other, that the Dragon Eaters have. Because Scoleon can straight touch you and turn you into ash. Like, he has an instant kill hacks, and he has an instant kill hacks ash technique on top of that. And then, you know, you got, like, Kyrian, her hypnosis, whatever the living hell Suzaku can do, and ultimately, at the end of the day, they have Dragon Force. Well, when it comes down to it, if they really have to use it, they'll just use Dragon Force. And then they gain whatever additional abilities on top of, well, I guess being, near immunity to magic isn't really going to matter if she's using spiritual arts. But Hokune is, like, the only one that they have to really look out for. I don't really see the other members of the Moonlit Beauty Gods. At least right now, we can end up seeing more. Like, maybe Yoko ends up pulling out more yokai that we haven't seen or heard of. Let's see. Do you think it's possible anyone can use their yokai form again to some extent? I don't think so. I think it's going to be Yoko who's going to be able to just kind of like put those on herself. Mira should still have Tartarus demons because she took their souls. Yeah, but I'm wondering if their souls would kind of like disappear because Zeref is gone because he's their creator. But that's something that like it's really weird in just the general idea of it because we don't know if she will kind of hold them over or if she'll kind of move past them. Again, it's a weird concept just because it could go either way super easily. Like super easily it could go in either direction of of where their powers stand and how the Aetherius kind of continue or die off. Since Naruto is old, do you think he'll be nerfed? I'm guessing so. I think so entirely, just because unless you have a power or a way around age, like Mishima hasn't had it to be just like to where it's just, being powerful means you just kind of like live forever or something, anything like that. Because it's mostly has to do with what your ability is. And if his age is clearly affecting him, I'm guessing his strength is tied to that too. And it's not just him saying like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm perfectly fine, but age-wise, maybe I've got 30 more years. Because otherwise, why would he ever really need a successor if he could just survive all the way out into the last moment end? It's funny how August, unlike most old men, August is different. Like, I'm curious to know if August's level of magic had to do anything. Because Mishima, it's weird with, like, the idea of, like, the Beta Heaven, because some of them have been seemingly reincarnated. And, like, Mishima's done that with, like, Immortals and stuff. Like, we saw that with Eclair, we saw that with Mavis, we saw that with Zeref. I'm very curious to know if August would be, like, some form of exception because he was born from two Immortals. Do you think Luke Dragneel, if he exists... Luke? What do you mean Luke? Who's Luke? Luke Dragneel? Is this like a fan fiction character? I don't know who that is. So you take the Creed... you take on the Creed slander about him sent for Homura? No, I didn't care about that. He just has pictures. He hasn't done anything... He hasn't done anything that would warrant simp energy. Like, people want to say, like, potentially for the future. Like, just have, like, a ship there. Like, potential him... one day doing some simpery stuff, but as far as we know now, he didn't just stop doing his job because he thought that Homura was attractive. I feel like their personalities would clash. Who? I missed that. Doesn't Damara only stop human time? No, she just stops time. She puts a seal on time. With Selen and Igni's personality, do you think they get along? I think they'd get along, but the problem is Igni would probably want to fight Selen. Because, like, Igni clearly is fine just going around destroying stuff for the sake of destroying stuff, to flex his powers. And I don't think Selen would really care if he was doing that. In fact, she seemed to be perfectly happy with the idea of people doing that because it gives her, it gives her more entertainment. It distorts the world more. Boruto does have the Naruto feel. Yeah, but you can see sometimes it just feels weird in Boruto. Naruto asking are there any threats out there really not going to train? But it would how much sense would it make if he just trains for a few months and somehow overcomes the loss of losing Kurama? Like, that'd be weird. Like, somehow in a few months he somehow overcomes a gap of the nine-tailed fox that's above the other. Like, the Biju alone, the Biju by themselves are really powerful. And Naruto's got the strongest of the nine. The only one above it is the Ten-Tails. Or a Ten-Tails, at least. But, like, do you really think it would make sense? If, like, oh, yeah, I stood off for a bit and then trained. And then, like, just in general, it turns out I didn't even need him. And not even, like, he can still fight to a degree, but, like, he somehow is just equal to or stronger than what he was before. I think that, like, would be silly. Sato's characters are opposites. Fairy Tail guys doesn't mean Nasha. When she's born, Earthline would have more of Nazu's personality. Well, the thing about Edelus is it's more that there's just something about them specifically tweaked. I don't think it just has to be a personality. Because, like, for the most part, Mystigun and Jalal, because like you can't really count Jalal's brainwashed personality. You kind of have to see like where who Jalal truly was before the brainwashing and stuff with stuff by Altair and stuff went down. It has more to do with like just something kind of like tweaked about him, because also for some reason he's I was gonna say Mavis, but like Wendy and Edalus was born somehow earlier than Earthland Wendy, or like with freaking Paul. I always forget how to pronounce him. Poorly Chuzaka, whatever. Or the Edalus Grandine. It could be something different like that, but who knows? I'm very curious of what Mishima is going to do with that, because obviously if he's established her in Edalus, there has to be something different about when she's born in Earthland. Would Memento Mori have been able to kill Zeref? No. Zeref's curse withstood Natsu's savage dragon fire, and that burnt the concept of time. So him and his curse have already withstood conceptual destruction kind of attacks. No, all demons were made to kill Zeref, but he said it was the only one capable. Yeah, but the thing about Memento Mori is that Mardgeir made it, so it's easy to believe that he never used it on Zeref, because he even said after he used it on Natsu and Gray that it was finally complete. But the way that Memento Mori works is it's like a conceptual hack's attack, but so is Natsu's savage dragonfire, and Zeref withstood it, so he's fine. What's that art looks similar to Hiromashima, whereas Super Boruto art looks off. Ueda has been getting a lot closer. I've been really happy about that. I wish Mishima would do more like panel redraws. Like I really liked in was it volume? I think it was volume 5, where there was like a panel that he redrew in his art of Laxus, and I really like it when he does that, when he just has like a random Mishima drawn art in there. Because I do miss seeing the characters in Mishima's art style. That was one of the things that made me really happy in Heroes, of just seeing what they looked like again in his art style. It's always a really good, really nice reminder. I like Ueda's art, but man, seeing the old style Mishima's, or at least like Mishima style of the characters, is always hype. We haven't seen Full Power Gojo, so what? What does that really change though? What's that gonna do anything if you get to by Dimension Slash? You don't make that Gojo, you not be able to perceive Yami Subins. That's also true. Like Jujutsu Kaisen verse isn't that fast. Well, Arcade apparently. That's not me. You caught up with Mashal. I am caught up with Mashal. Cool if the S-Class people form a team of mission to do something. I would like to see that. Like some form of just like a spin-off chapter where the S-Classes do something. I think Elsie could be the Shuda and Laxus. I think the character that'll be kind of the Laxus is going to be... it'll either be Laxus or the Guild Arts that's going to be Draken Joe, because I do think at some point Draken Joe is going to be worked back in the story, and my guess is it's going to be time travel shenanigans, and it'll be like a younger Draken Joe, and then Shiki's able to kind of befriend him before whatever point like Draken Joe turned evil. Because we saw like as a kid, he seemed like a good person, and at some point down the line, he's just kind of somehow he lost his way, and I believe that Shiki's going to end up being able to intercept that at some point with time travel. Because there's one thing Mishima said is that like through Xiaomei is that time is kind of irrelevant, because obviously the time travel stuff all set up throughout the series, Carnal Phage and whatnot. But we'll see. Let's see. Gojo's still great. Greatest character in Jujutsu Kaisen? Probably most people pick that. I would go with, I like Megumi more, so I'd probably, I would not gonna pick him. Wait, what? Who do you think would win No Magic in a bare fist spar? Lucy or Natsu? Natsu, it's not a fight. Lance is the gravity mage with blue hair's ability as a second liner called Second Death, which can use spells. I study Mashal more than I studied high school. Does he have any, like, oh, he had those gravity pillars. I remember that guy. Rex, please answer. Again, versus Gray, my bet. Gray. Like, Gray Full Buster, Gray freezes everything that he does and one-shots him. You think Elsie, Nero, and Justice are on par with Ziggy? I would guess, like, current Ziggy, but I don't think Ziggy's at his prime right now, and I think he's going to have to get back to it. That's just my guess, is, for whatever reason, while he was, asleep or, deep, powered down, whatever you want to kind of use, that since then he had, like, for whatever reason, doesn't have his maximum level of capabilities as he used to. Like, maybe he needs to regather parts or equipment or something in his programming. I wouldn't say on par, but relative. I think they'd be equal to him at this version, but probably not like him in his prime. Can Galuna Island, can Galuna Island be Celine's old home when he lived in Ishikawa before fleeing from Aknologia? I'm hoping that they relate something back to there. Because the Bellionese is still a thing, and you have some language that relates to the moon. It should be somehow connected, but who knows. The truth of One for All is soon to be revealed. I hope so. Anything happy will end up with Carla or Toka? Probably Carla, but I kind of like Toka more for happy. I think Toka's a fine character so far. She seems like a really nice little cat. But I'm curious if she's going to stick around. That's kind of the thing. Like, is Mishima gonna actually like have her be a reoccurring, like a character that stays after all this is said and done, or is she going to like kind of go back to Elentier and just live there? Because she's a very odd. Her and Ferris are really odd characters. Just because they're part of the guild now, and it's like they have stuff that connects to, you know, obviously staying in the guild. At least Toka right now, or sorry, Ferris right now. Wait, no, shit, it was Toka. See, it was so nice that we actually have names for him now. But for Toka, because of obviously her affections for Happy, like, is she gonna end up sticking around? Is she gonna stay in? Ziggy is the strongest so far. I think Ziggy is the strongest in his prime, but not currently, just because, you know, he's been down. Assuming Ziggy's the strongest, yeah, it's still fine. Rex, seeing Ferris trying to be evil in that extra chapter, trying to get Fairy Tail members, the car was hilarious. Yeah, I was curious about that too, but I'm like, why didn't she should have just mind controlled him from the start. I think pretty much implying Noah has Undi now, and the point of story thing steps 166, 165. That's good. I think she'll have it temporarily. Like, she's going to be holding on to it until they can get Laura Petrica back. New record Ragnarok chapter, a new record Ragnarok chapter dropped. Buddha's opponent saying, "Oh, don't spoil it. I'll get to that after the stream." It blows my mind that Invol's ice is so cold it could freeze other ice to shatter it. Yeah, it's the essence of cold. How powerful would a Time Dragon Slayer be? And it'd be a normal Hax. Like, it would really depend on like the level of Hax though. That would be. I feel like a Time Dragon Slayer would be like that's like Natsu was the worst opponent for that person. Like, you're just immune to time powers to like such a high degree. Like, any form of their big hacks, he's probably going to be fine against. You have to put it against somebody else. I mean, I guess that's kind of what Acnologia became, though. Let's see. Rex didn't read what I wrote. Also, we don't know how long the time skip is. So, on top of like generally, like, if Naruto can just close the gap of losing Kurama in any short amount of time, considering how much Kurama's chakra was, why would you want to? Like, not from the standpoint of Naruto, and then from the story standpoint, because it's not Naruto's story anymore, it's Boruto's. So you give Naruto a final send out and then just make him stronger. It's just like, well, why just go back to calling the series Naruto? It's supposed to be about Boruto. Like, Naruto getting that one surprise spotlight was cool, but this is Boruto's story. If they just do that with Naruto again, then Naruto's back in the story, and every single time Naruto is being flexed on screen, it overshadows Boruto. Try Manga. I've got the link. I'm gonna pull it up later. The next fight is about to be the best fight by far. I hope so. My big hopes is on Rasputin's fight. He's gonna be my favorite. Would you ever debate Seth? I've seen some of Seth the Programmer's like power scaling style. I don't agree with it. It would literally just be a stream of us not agreeing with each other. So probably not. It would just be an angry person stream. I kind of want to just do debates on people that at least like we have the same similar idea of how like rules and setup with like powers work. Like, Seth the Programmer, the biggest thing that kind of like was a known, I knew I would not like have fun to like even converse with the style, is when he tried to like say that Mirio was like faster than light because he was trying to like use quantum tunneling to like go off on Mirio's quirk. I'm like, where are you getting this from? Where did they mention quantum tunneling? He just has a phasing power. It was just so. It was such a weird reach for like power level inflation, and I'm not a fan of the stuff like that. And it's not like I can change his outlook on things, and he's not going to change mine. So it would just be a waste of time. What's good, Rex? What's up, Schmoodle man? How's it going? Even the flashback with Nero and Ziggy means that the Shining Star has possibly met Nero. They might have. Because it would have to take place, obviously, before Shiki, but maybe it was, like, early in Ziggy's career. Maybe that's when he started getting people. Who knows? Like, it's one of those weird things just because we don't know anything about Ziggy's timeline. Like, we only know aspects about him, but there's still so many mysteries. Because his weird thing, again, is, like, he's a machine. What, like, is he somebody that's like Xenolith, where he was in a human body at one point and kind of put his consciousness in a machine, or did somebody build him? Or is he like some strange freaking kind of Transformer style, where he's like an organic machine? Went towards distance erasure. Yeah, no, he says the concepts of life and death, so existence erasure is what it does, but it works on a conceptual level, so it is a conceptual level attack. One of the OC characters, Juna, was powerful. Has the power to make a character love and hate each other, so shippers will have a field day with that one. Which one is that the assistant to Shura? Where did you rank now in terms of anime couples? It's one of my favorites. I can't think of any above that I like. Yeah, I'd probably put that as my favorite. Do you think Urza can learn about Iron being alive? Do you think reaction? That's like the weird thing. Like, people have asked about that before. Is like, if instead Irene did the whole personality enchantment to Urza, because it's like there are more people that was like, oh, it should be Urza because it's Urza's mom. But like the interactions that we had Urza and Irene, when Urza even said like her being her mom, then like she has a general level of respect. But at the same time, it's not like being her mom changed anything. Like, Urza was the one when she found out her sibling was one of the enemies. Or not sibling, but family member. Like, her mother. A family member enemy, essentially. Because, Gray has his own stuff, Natsu's his own stuff. Sort of Makarov with Hades, like, being his master and stuff. But either way, or Ivan. But Urza was the only one that there was no real hesitation after the fact. Like, she was just like, that doesn't matter to me. Like, if you've pointed a blade at the guild, then you're my enemy and stuff. But I don't really know what Urza knowing would really do for it. Like, she would just be like surprised. Like, Urza has no real connections to her mom. Her mom's coming back wouldn't really. Like, we don't know it couldn't really do anything for Urza. Like, Irene would probably have to be the one to kind of direct, like, something coming out of that, like, between the two of them, like, some form of advancement between their relationship. I don't think Urza could really, like, Urza's not going to really do much in that category. Like, she's probably not going to care too much. She'd probably be more, hesitant on just trusting her in general, to be perfectly honest. It's too bad Shiki didn't meet Justice when he met Genesis and Heroes, because then... Oh, yeah, that would have been really interesting. I'm so curious because Mishima said that he might do a Heroes 2. Is he going to have any form of continuing hint at the whole eye-marked people? Because when Shinra turned into Genesis, he said that he was going to... Like, he said, I'm going to become him. And it was clearly uncertain if he was referring to Jalal or Sieg. Or Mistogun or any of them, but it's clear that the eye-marked people have something to do on a grander scale, because to Shinra, like, he was directly below Mashimir, and Mashimir created all of these characters and all these universes. So Shinra has to know something about these people, because it's somebody that's always been in one Mishima's series, like anything he's serialized since like he's been a manga, because it relates all the way back to his original main character in Magician. I didn't say he was going to be the same level of training. But at what level, though? What's it going to matter? Boruto's general power level isn't that crazy. It's when he gets his Momoshiki boosts and stuff, and he's got his crazy space chakra rabbit monster powers, like, activate. Roger's much weaker. All good for Boruto growth. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Seth Program. Rex, you think Team Nuts would win against Selene? Like, they would lose against one Dragon God and have to train. Oh, well, they definitely can't beat her right now. I think there's a lot of factors I think that are going to be revealed going to the fight, and I personally am on the side of people that think that they're going to have to team up with Diablos in order to take down Selene, but we'll see. The advanced magics that they get are going to be one of the bigger things in that, and I'm going to talk about that in a video up and coming. I think Lucy is going to be one of the key factors in the Selene fight. I don't want to give away why. But when the video comes out, I think people really see the aspects of it that'll make sense of when I say that, because like Lucy's like will be a really weird setup in that fight, but I think she has the potential to be one of the key people in it. Why wouldn't they just have Boruto get the great-grandson or grandson of Naruto, like when Naruto retired and told to move around? Because they still wanted to do stuff with the older cast, just because like that's how you pull automatic fans in, is like keep the older ones around while having the new ones in, and then it just depends on how you juggle them and keep them kind of going the story. Max, how far do you prefer Eden Zero female cast to Jujutsu Kaisen females? Oh, I like Eden Zero female cast way more than Jujutsu Kaisen female cast. Do you think Natsu pull a dumbass move and leave in the middle of the night to fight Ignia? Well, first off, if Natsu is going to have a 1v1 fight with Ignia, it wouldn't be a dumbass move, because to him it would, like, if he's gonna do that, because we know Natsu wants to do this as a group. He wants to do this with everybody. We know that from his fight with Marsphobia, when he said that everyone had to be part of it, everyone had to be there, because he views it as their mission. It's something they're doing together. So if Natsu ends up going out of his way to go 1v1 Ignia, it's going to be based very entirely on a character-driven thing of something to do with Ignia and taking down, like, who is essentially his stepbrother from, doing the evil things that he's doing, and putting the good word back on Ignia's name. If Natsu does something like that, it's going to be way more character-driven to do so. And on top of that, Natsu is the only one that has the potential to get up that high to actually fight him. So it's like, the other characters being involved is actually a little bit more dangerous, because Ignia has already shown that he's willing to kill them. So on top of, like, it being a personal thing, why would Natsu want to bring them there if one of the ways that Ignia said that he would motivate him is killing his friends? He's going to want them not in the picture. Just saying. I think Donnie Elba and the other guy is going to team up with Percival. I think Donnie's going to stick around. What are your thoughts on Ziggy adult Shiki theory? It definitely holds... Like, the whole time travel stuff in it definitely has it hold water. I'm super curious about Ziggy, just because Ziggy's origin is so weird just from the fact that he's a machine. Like, there's so many... Like, with Zeref, we didn't know the contents of Zeref, but we know at some point Zeref, born normal human. It'd be really weird if he wasn't. And then at some point down the line, events happened that turned him in the way he was. We don't know if Ziggy was, an organic machine. We don't know if he was programmed to be like this. We don't know if he's a person that put his brain in a robot body. We don't know if he's from a different time period. Like, again, he's very strange. As Eunice's secretary. That's the one I don't really know about, because the character information that was posted was in Japanese, so I didn't really know anything about her. Nerf reminded me of Julius. It is what it is. How strong do you think Koda's going to be? I have no idea. Like, Code, to me, I never really thought about him. He was really weird, but I think his design and his name are cool, so I'm looking forward to it. I assume that he's going to kind of be like Boruto, where base, like, he's probably not going to be crazy, but, like, whatever his OP ability is, it's going to kind of put him up there with, like, Momoshiki. He's going to have such a massive boost and have to kind of either be equal to or greater than Boruto, because otherwise, if he's too strong, Boruto has to have the Momoshiki power to fight him, and if he's too weak, then other characters should be able just to beat him relatively fine. Jurors are better than Nalu. I mean, I like both of them. I like Natsu and Lucy more, just because they have better interactions, whereas like Ursa and Shalal is closer to being a thing and is more of like it feels way more of like the romance drama, whereas like Natsu and Lucy is also just gonna come down to like whenever they make the first move. Like all of the like the major ships right now are either you have like Gagio and Levy, which is fully in, like that one's not going anywhere. That you might as well assume that one's fully canonized. It's never gonna break apart. Like they're good. The rest of them, like when you look at like Gray and Juvia, Natsu and Lucy, Urza and Jal, those are all like one step away from pretty much being the same way. It really just comes down to those last bits. You can't scale an attack that raises you to conceptual on attack that affects you a completely different concept. What do you mean? Because if you're talking about, I don't actually know what entirely you mean. Like, what are you talking about, which is time? The concept of time, though, he's destroying a concept. They're both working on a conceptual level, because the way that Memento Mori erases somebody is by voiding out the concepts of life and death. So it has to go through conceptual levels to do that. You're erasing somebody at a conceptual level. I like Mercer Woman. Alderaan Celine has been active. Yeah, they've all been different styles.
It doesn't wait until halfway of the arc to show up. I mean, Mercifobia definitely didn't wait until halfway into the arc. Like he was there at like what, like was it chapter like 7 or 8 that he decided, he showed up and started doing stuff. So that's we didn't get to see him fight. But they've all been very different. Selene is closer. Like one of the reasons I said that it feels a little bit like Sirius Island is like Selene is showing a lot like Hades, where like Hades had almost like a chessboard kind of thing going on, kind of like when we saw Jalal in the Tower of Heaven, where they're just overlooking everything, making their moves, doing whatever doing whatever their villain kind of tactic is. But on top of that, we're seeing like all these different sides to Selene, and we're seeing her being way more character driven, because we already know the overall plot of like 100 Years Quest, and now we're seeing the more selected in the arc plot and stuff going on. But with Selene's is way more of the being driven as a character, rather than like where Hades was driven as like where he's tied into the arc of that story, or the story of that arc rather. In your personal opinion, did any Fairy Tail characters' redemption arcs come close to Zuko's or after? I liked Lax's way better, and honestly, I like Jalal's way better, because the thing about Jalal's I always was really a fan of is when everybody else would have, I feel like in a normal situation, like, oh, character was mind controlled, he was brainwashed, they would see it more of like, oh, it wasn't your fault, you didn't do that. Like, and they saw that with Jalal, but Jalal didn't see that for himself. Like, he still took responsibility, and he believed it still was a decision he made, because he had to go in and believe in all that and walk down that road. It wasn't like he was just full on mind controlled and forced down that. And so he spent years trying to make up for it, and he didn't think he was good enough to kind of like be with Urza because of it. And it took him a long time until he finally got over like the extent of the crimes he committed. Because it would have been super easy just to say like, oh, I didn't do that of my own accord. Someone else was brainwashing me to do it. But he wasn't like he fully took responsibility for all that. And then like, it's kind of like when you think about. One of the things that have always bothered me is that like there never seemed to be any backlash on Vegeta when he went Majin Vegeta and he was just killing civilians. And like the fact that Vegeta, how many people do you think Vegeta has killed in his life? And granted, like he's shown like a lot of development recently, especially in Super, and I've liked that. Like, well, outside of fights, he's somehow still the same idiot. But like outside of fights, he's like a very like he's a grown person, like he's got a lot of development from. But like I feel like it's weird that nobody ever kind of tried to bring up and grill him for the fact of like how many people he killed, like with his bare hands, and like just blasts and everything. I much prefer Jalal's and Laxus's, I'd say. Do you think Ivan or Jose could have been main antagonists in the Fairy Tail Next Generations have made? Ivan could, if they could actually do anything with him. Or the idea of Stashi, Storm, and Ashi. No. That's, I don't even know if it's, like, his name is going to be Storm, I would assume. It's probably going to be whatever it is in Edilith. Could be different. Who knows? They don't exist yet, though. Do you think Boruto can overcome his Momoshiki curse? I mean, yeah, he's gonna in the end. What other fish to fry do you think Holy is referring to? Probably some other just general bad guys. Like we might see another like up and coming younger generation of like space adventures, kind of like Shiki's crew. Take Celine's body. Think that Irene can morph into her old body? They can't give her Celine's body. No way. Selena's too powerful for that. Like Irene can't just take her over. That would bother me if they just kind of Kaguya it, where it's like, well, I'll just have this other villain take your body. Like they have to kill her. If it's like after the arc, like at the very end, Celine's been fully defeated, and then Irene takes her body somehow, different. But if she just somehow takes it over, that'll bother the hell out of me. It would like if she did something kind of like Zoldio when he like went to go take over Leo's body. If she did something like that and it went into Celine's body, Celine should have no problem like doing something against her. You think Code gonna be overhyped, trash, and poor? I hope not. It seems like he's gonna be like the main villain. Got crushed chapter win. I haven't read the chapter. I'll probably review it. I'll probably record a review tomorrow after I do the Shonen Jump stuff. Depends though, as long as the chapter's not just rape like it was the last chapter. Because I said that the last time someone's like, "Hey, a new chapter coming out," I was like, "Oh, I'll review it." And then I read the chapter, and I was like, I'm not putting this on the channel." Like, it was literally just a graphic chapter. Like, like there was no real plot until the last couple of pages, and I was like, I can't talk about 3 or 4 pages of like story and then just a bunch of graphic violation for the rest of it. Like, not gonna happen. How strong are Naruto and Sasuke now without Rinnegan and Kurama? I mean, probably like my guess is like their max strength is like Naruto when he first got like the better Kurama like cloak, and nothing kind of beyond that. Like whatever Naruto's got now, probably pushed up to kind of a level like that, because they still have to be like some of the strongest ninjas around. It'd be really unfortunate if they got nerfed so bad that this like tons of people are above them. Now the Dragon Thunder's got motion sickness, so acting like it should be fine. Wait, what are you talking about? Let me see. Big players coming to the Outward Cosmos could be Eden Zero's first big war arc. I think so. I think that vision that Rebecca had, where like all those machines were kind of just like going around shooting stuff, and like Shiki had his bandage up. I think that's gonna be from this arc. It's just a guess. Just because Nero seems to be the one that would have forces like that, of just like big robot armies. First off, I'm not calling him Pentadrake. If the 5 Dragon Gods attacked Acnologian or Tartarus, would they have had a chance? All 5 of them? I mean, all 5 of them, I think, can take Acnologia. I don't believe any of them would fight with each other. I don't think any of them are just going to kind of, like, team up and be buddy-buddy. But I think in a like, Acnologia could take them in a 1v1, but if they all teamed up against him, he probably wouldn't win. Like, at least normal Acnologia. Space Between Time Acnologia, yeah. Rax, do you think Dante could be scaled to break panic? Wait, what? No, I don't. Dante's not planetary. Since Naruto trusts Shura to lead, do you think Shura will be on the level where Estion stays or below it? I think he is like 1 tier below them. I think he's like if you had like an official kind of ranking set up for Eden Zero, he's probably like 1 spot below them. Like if you put him against one of the Galactica, he should. I would guess that he could push them to like that level right before Overdrive, when their ether lines are starting to come off their body, where they don't have to go all out, but he's able to kind of get them around like a little over halfway into their efforts. What's up, Shock Schlop? How are you doing? What are you talking about? The none of the dragons have motion sickness. Action should be fine. I don't know what you mean though. Madmol against Mimi would be a good one. Madmol versus Mimi would be the worst fight. Because it's just like super defense and then super strength. She's just gonna be punching him. He's not going anywhere. He's probably gonna like punch her, and she's not gonna go anywhere unless them clashing and then kind of just like their physical force trying to push each other. It does some like badass stuff where it's like they're not moving, but everything behind them is getting destroyed and shattered, and you just see all these like big chunks of rock and land and like mountains and stuff starting shifting and just like shattering. If you did something crazy like that, where it's just like this intense struggle of like these 2 immovable characters. But other than that, like I don't think their fight would be very cool at all. It'd be like I mentioned, I want to do this the Diablos trio against the Dark Triad, but like we gotta wait for the Diablos trio to get some more feats, and I'm hoping to get at least like their Dragon Forces, considering the Dark Triad got their 100%, and we're not gonna know the full extent of any of the we don't know the extent of any of the Dragon Eaters like entirely unless they use the Dragon Force, because that's their big move. That's their trump card. They're all out, and it's not the same as it's kind of the same actually as like the 100% form, and then obviously what they get in those dragon power in that form as dragons is like the same as like whatever extra hacks the Dark Triad and the powers they get in their 100%. But like Xenon versus Madmol would be like the most boring fight ever, because Xenon would just be teleporting around throwing bones at him, and Madmol would like the bones just hit him and do nothing. But Madmol, like, he doesn't have anything crazy with his magic. Like he has high physical strength, and he's got his durability, and he has that weird thing where he can harden stuff, because you remember we pointed out the water made it hard enough to walk on. But other than that, like, it would just be him trying to punch Xenon teleporting, throwing a bone at Madmol, the bone breaks, and just continues on and on until one of them gives up or runs out of energy. Speaking of ships, there might be some Shiki X Rebecca moments later, because Shura will most likely try something Rebecca. I'm kind of hoping Mishima doesn't do that, just because at that point it would feel too much like with what happened with Lucia and Ellie. Like, if he maybe goes after Homura, and we have some kind of like plot with like Homura and Shura, that'd be kind of more interesting in my opinion. Because the people are already drawing like there are some similarities between Shura and Lucia, but if you just have Lucia or if you have Nero do the same thing, or sorry, if you have Shura just do the same thing as Lucia, it's like, well then they're just going to be moving towards being the same character with different powers, and I don't want that. Let's see, except erasing someone existence erasure. Yeah, but it's existence erasure through the means of going through a conceptual level. They're both conceptual level attacks. One of them is just full conceptual destruction, where one is conceptual destruction that leads to a type of existence erasure. Do you think Viernez has Aquarius' key? I mean, it's highly possible. Like, we don't. The problem with Viernez is we don't know anything about him at all. We don't know, like, what is his city like? What is he like? What is his arc going to be like? What the subplots in his arc are going to be like? If it's not here, like, if it's not somehow shown in Elentier or somehow related to Elentier, then it'll probably be Viernez, because Viernez is the gold dragon god, and Aquarius is the gold key. So, like, maybe that'll be the connection, is for some reason he wanted the key because it was gold. Maybe he's, like, obsessed with gold or who knows what. Honestly, don't care about Shiki x Rebecca. If they end up together, doubt it. They're going to end up together. Like, come on, man. Is Mina's cat lure connected to Shiki's Satan gravity? I think it's just, like, my guess is time and gravity combined, just like by the way that their powers are stemmed out of, and it's not exclusively Satan gravity, but it's closer to like the type of gravity that like it'll lead to, like when Xenos is talking about true gravity, because maybe Satan gravity is a variation of the gravity that Xenolith uses, unless Xenolith says that his ether gear was also Satan gravity, because we know he had he made the techniques and the style of it. But we don't know if he has the exact same, like if it's also called Satan gravity, or if it's like it's a different version of it. Like maybe he has like maybe Shura is gonna have like a similarly named ether gear, but it's not just straight up called Satan gravity. Because Shiki's is called Satan gravity because that's what Ziggy called it. But like I'm curious to know if you name your ether gear type, or if they all have a specific name. Kind of like how there's the book in One Piece that has all the information and all the like the total devil fruits. It's like other people could have the same one, but is it gonna have the same, or like the same kind of power? But does it automatically mean that it's gonna be the like specific kind? Because otherwise that means that instead people had to invent them in a specific way, rather than if it's like just the way that you generally manipulate it. And it's really weird. We don't know enough about the ether gear. That's still something that's like a mystery for the future. Wait, what is this? Oh, it's not time to me. What's the point of Sanji? Wait, so at this point, is Sanji's character dead? No, just unfortunate. I honestly love this. Wait, it's not me. Viernez could turn into a teenage dragon god. Wait, what? Why would he turn into a teenage dragon god? Rax think Koda's going to be overhyped. I think he's going to be okay. Like, it really just depends on, like, if he's hyped up, can he live up to it? Because clearly he's going to be he's going to be, like, the continuous villain after this point. I feel like the Ishiki guy was mostly just a way to kind of get Sasuke and Naruto out of the picture. Will Lucy get another power-up arc? I think so. I do. I think it's more of, like, she's going to explore more of, like, what she already has just being an Elentier. You think Zara should have had Mardgear join? I wish he had Mardgear join the Spriggan 12. I really do. I also really wish Minerva's villain role kind of continued, and eventually, like, she got strong enough in Tartarus to be, like, in the Spriggan 12. I always really wanted her to kind of, like, villain side to kind of continue. I think she remind you of Zancro. A little bit. Shiki becomes evil at the end of the story. Like full evil. I don't think so, but I think if he has like a evil side to him, sure. Will Natsu be the most powerful fairy tale mage, Gildart's character for next generation? I mean, 100%. Like right now, if you put Natsu versus Gildarts, the second Natsu goes Dragon Force, he's above Gildarts, and he could beat him. It really just comes down to if Gildarts cannot get hit by Dragon Force stuff while he's active. She's been shafted for a while with Forge Robin have a fight. It's gonna be interesting. I like Robin was a character that I didn't understand why hype her up and not use her, because they hyped her up she intercepted Jinbei and second gear Luffy in Fishman Island and then hasn't done anything pretty much since. We likely won't see Diablo's Dragon Force this arc. Oh, if we see Suzaku in a state where it's like his all in or nothing, he's going to end up using Dragon Force. I can guarantee that's going to be a thing. The reason that like Scolion and all them are probably not going to be using it until the end is so they can keep around, because they seem more sensible. Whereas like Suzaku at least has that bit of a menacing mindset to where he and swordsman pride, I'm guessing, to where he would probably do it in order to achieve victory. But that really depends on his character. Because the only one we saw was Nibaru, but he just wasn't very sensible. But I think it would come down more to like a character personality thing. And it may be like he'll be way more like mission focused, or like his pride to not lose or something. I definitely want to see it though. Any character that it's gonna be like, especially if actually is the bad way I say it, especially if Suzaku isn't gonna be in the arc after this. Like if he's only in this arc, he's got to use it, because otherwise it's like, well, then we'll never see it. It should be either this arc, like if he's gonna not use it this arc, he better be the next arc essentially. Do you believe that Hagoromo is the strongest character in the Naruto-verse? No, I'm guessing that super god Otsutsuki is that they showed in the last chapter. If somebody achieves that, that's like Naruto top tier. I do agree that LF Seri is probably plotting something. I think he's a bad guy. Wonder what the dark evil side of Shiki will be. Master said that there's a dark side of gravity. Yeah, the dark gravity. I'm guessing it's probably what like messed with Ziggy at some point. Like there's a strong possibility for that. Just because now there is something similar to like people were comparing it to like the Force, and I thought that was really cool. It just, to achieve it, you've probably already lost your way. To the previous mission, Yozakura family chapter with Shinzo. Hey, give me a second. I'm trying to remember what happened. The last chapter was when he pulled out that like cool, was it like metal, like liquid metal that he could just freely shape. So he's essentially become kind of like Musica. I thought that was pretty cool. I like what the powers are doing in the series so far. I like that there's like, it's like a combination of like weird science, like weird fictional science and superpowers almost, and I have enjoyed that. I think it's a pretty good series. Like it's definitely one that I look forward to every week, especially the current arc. Actually, I really like the whole stuff with our mother that's involved. I thought that was a really interesting stuff and then a really interesting thing to kind of like put into the plot with everything that's going on right now, because it gave a reason for like everybody to have stakes in this arc, just from very obvious core reasoning of why they would have stakes of wanting to get their mother's body back. Mahito is far better than who though? Wait, who's a better villain, Mahito or Draken Joe? Well, Draken Joe actually had an ending that didn't make him look down bad. Like Mahito, very unfortunately, like I liked Mahito as a villain, but like his ending was very unfortunate because he was used as an ending to hype up a bigger villain. Like it's understandable when you think about from the concept of it. Like, you know, you're going to use a character to make another one look bigger. It's kind of like when we got all the information about Zeref, and then we saw Zeref, what he's capable of, but he was sweating from acnologia coming. So that was a way that you use a big character to hype up a bigger character. Whereas, like, with Mahito, it just made him look... Like, him running away from Yuji just made him look bad, and then he's pretty much a Pokemon now. Let me see this. Ken Mono for the $5 Super Chat. Atlas Flame, Dan, Atlas Flame. Don't worry, I have the tab up. I pretty much just have to edit it into panels. I just been I gotta wait for the thing to go through. I've just been a combination of busy and procrastinating, but don't worry, I'm gonna get it going. Like I said though, Kinmono, I have a bunch of video ideas that I have planned, but I've already said I'm not doing any of them until I do the Atlas Flame video. Like the only thing that I will do before those are like general chapter react or chapter review and prediction videos. I'm gonna do that with some videos. Don't worry, man. The unfortunate thing I just gotta not do is give dates because I usually say a time that's way earlier than I plan to or where I'm gonna get it out. But I am gonna get it out. Don't worry. It's just on the way. I pretty much just gotta like work up the area of room to not get distracted and then just put enough time to do it. I might re-record part of it, but it shouldn't be a problem at all. It's mostly just me needing to finish it up. But I will get to it, man. Don't worry. I was feeling. Wait, I already read this one. But thank you again for the $5 super chat. I always appreciate any donation, any amount of money that you guys want to throw my way. To the hopes that I have entertained you, I do appreciate it. Whether it's $1, $5, $10, or if you're Kinmano and throw Benjamins down like a madman. I'm glad he gave me a sensible number this week. Whenever he goes crazy, I always feel bad. Could we get an easy Fairy Tail OVA in the animation? I mean, we just gotta get heroes, because then we could get the full crossover with Rave Master too. Mahito better, Dragon Joe? I don't know. I think Dragon Joe's is better. And plus, Dragon Joe's gonna come back. Dragon Joe's gonna be part of the story again. The unfortunate thing with Mahito, like I said, is like he's pretty much a Pokemon now. What's Rax's character on what's Rax's character power on screen? Oh, this one? I don't know, cuz this so originally like the name Rax was going to be for my main character if I ever did anything, and then I ended up using the name online, so I had to switch the character because I didn't want it to have like that whole idea of like, you know, because if you have your character have the same name as you know, your online kind of persona or whatever, you have your screen name, it has that kind of like sense that of almost self-insertion, and I didn't want that, so I switched them over. And then like this is not like the original Rax looks like. This is like what I like made my character in it, but I don't know what powers he would have. I'd have to think about that. I don't know, because I would have to give him something that's cool but nothing too crazy. I'd probably just give like what was it that I said with the face Black Clover character thing that he had of like being in squads for YouTubers. I'd probably go like a solar power or something cool. The Shura is a badass character. He'll be 6 around for a long time. I'm hoping I'm hoping he gets a lot of character to him. Ardgear is more interesting than Bloodband. Yeah, Ardgear's cool. I hope this Zero arc will be a long arc. I mean, it's got to be. There's a lot of stuff going on. The oceans are the big determining thing, because we know now that we don't know like what a fully energized Shiki would be like against one of the B Squad 1 members, but the oceans are clearly going to be like the big people of this arc, and it really just depends on how they're presented, like versus the characters in fights. Probably how long it'll be. Like, if there might be, like, one more sequence, and then the characters get stronger, and then they're gonna be strong enough to fight the oceans or something. And then maybe, like, the later bigger fights, but who knows? It just really depends on, like, how long it takes the characters to get strong enough to fight those guys. Mardgear is more interesting than Arcane River compared him to Bloodbend. Well, yeah, Mardgear had way more going on for him, but he was the main villain of that arc for the most part. Main antagonist, not villain. It was brought up twice that Wise was the one who could destroy Herman if she went berserk. Do you think it'd become a future plot point? I hope not. You think also struggle with his Historia? Struggle with his Historia, or will be able a little bit more punching bags from him? What do you think? For who though? Like, how many people is he gonna summon if he goes against Nineheart? Because Nineheart's not making like Igneals or Zeraphs and stuff. He'd have to make people kind of like Larcade or someone like he'd have a better chance dealing like a Mavis. But Natsu, we know that Natsu, like, just based off the stuff like smell and then like his senses and how he feels talking to like copies of people that he knows, like he's not. I don't think Natsu would have any problem against Historias because he's gonna know they're not real. Let's see. I think sure will be Shiki's rival for the series. I'd be cool with that. If I choose to rather live in a world of Grim and Ruby or Titans from Attack on Titan, I would rather live in the Ruby world because the Grim aren't as threatening because you get powers in there, versus the Titans where you're mostly just a human with some equipment. I think it's also how to train characters in a specific ether gear. I assume so. I 100% assume so, because it's like if you had somebody who has the same power, or at least compatible enough power, and they're just more experienced than you, they should be able to explain stuff to you. Yeah, the Grim are mostly fodder. Shiki and the crew, besides Shining Stars, is training with Zealand for 7 days. We got introduced to Poseidon Arrow, more Shura. Oh, actually today's Saturday. We should be getting some chapter information soon, because I really want to know what the stuff with Ziggy is going to kind of turn into, because it was a really weird plot line to kind of drop on top of like starting up training stuff. It means that we never saw Wraith's Dragon Force form. Wraith is really weird because like he never had any named attacks. So like I actually was always really curious if he really was a Dragon Slayer or if he just had like some form of dragon abilities. I don't really know. Well, like if he had a Dragon Force, so like how would they even really fight him? It would have to be Natsu, but I mean like I guess he was attacking him at the time. I actually would be okay if like as long as if Mishima just drew like it, like if he decided, oh, this character is never gonna end up using Dragon Force because he's not gonna have them all either get killed off or have to have somebody fix them, and like what Irene did, then he should like if he just drew like gave us the designs in like in like a volume, like an extra page, that'd be pretty cool now that I think about it. I'm hoping we eventually see all of them, but like, actually, with Sacrifice to Wraith, as long as we see Scollions at some point, I'll be okay. I was talking about like Rim and the Titans. Yeah, the thing is like you can just get powers in Ruby. Like you don't get powers in Attack on Titan unless you're a Titan shifter. That sucks ass. I think Mishima should have reused Bor the Prominence at some point as a better throwaway. No, Bor is fine the where he was at. We never needed Bor to come back. I was thinking supernova power as to create a black hole's defense move. For who, though? When the Grim decides the apathy and that giant Grim's even threats. They're meh. Eden Zero is Eden Zero a sequel to Fairy Tail separate series? It's a separate series. The reason that people don't get, or the reason people think that it's connected, like in reality, but it's not, is just because it's similar art styles. But it's by the same guy. And he has some characters look similar because he has like aspects and Easter eggs throughout his stories to his previous stories. A lot of people just didn't notice it in Fairy Tail because they didn't read Wraithmaster. He just likes to have like nods and Easter eggs and like twists on ideas for characters done in different directions. That's what he likes to do. And you can have like, it's weird, you can have like all these characters, for some reason people don't want to look at all the different designs, but they just want to look at the ones that are like similar in some way to a character from previous ones. Like, oh, he's got no new designs. It's like, you're looking at the few characters that he intentionally made similar to previous characters. It's sort of an extended universe, but not in the idea of like they're in the same world and the events are going at the same time. It's just like a different universe in the same multiverse kind of thing. They're connected in their multiverse, but like their stories aren't directly adjacent to each other at all. What's up, Javalda? How's it going, man? The personality of Uranus had being a psychopath, probably. I'm hoping that he has a lot of trauma or something. Mishima Heroes is probably not getting a dub. I doubt it would get a dub. Like we'll probably get a anime at some point, and then we can just get it subbed. I'm fine with that. I don't need it dubbed. If you could see Eden Zero have a crossover with another manga besides Fairy Tail and Remaster to be, I don't know, maybe Black Clover. I think it'd be really cool to see like them show up, and then you have, because you could play more on that whole the whole thing about them not wanting to give up any information about being space and sci-fi related, because there was a note on that in Heroes. And you didn't really need that because there's already robots and machines and crazy stuff in both Wraithmaster and Fairy Tail. Not to the same extent, obviously, like they're not traveling the universe and going different planets. But it wouldn't be as crazy to them. Whereas like in Black Clover, you wouldn't want to tell anybody that because it would be a completely new thing in general just to have robots and machines. Like seeing Pino for like either the Wraithmaster or Fairy Tail crew wouldn't be that weird because they have encountered machinery. It's just something that they don't see every day. Whereas like with Black Clover, it would be just a complete mindfuck. You see this weird thing made of a bunch of metal pieces talking and moving around. Let's see. Do you think Mysteries and Sixth Light from Eclipse Gate will come next arc? The Sixth Light was that was Sonya. Irax from who from the oceans do you want to fight Eden Zero from me? I want. Well, I already mentioned that earlier. I think that was his name. Nessa or whatever, he should fight Jin. And like Klein, I do agree with that because obviously memories, like we don't need to go into the Jin backstory where it connect, but I kind of do prefer the idea of Wise versus Callum because it's like super hacks versus super versatility. I think that'd be really cool to see kind of like laid out. Those are my big fights right there. I think whoever fights Callum is like my main focus just because like I want to see his ether gear. Hope Fiorenez won't be a psychopath. I really want to see him be like super traumatized, like mentally, by like hiding from Acnologia and fear of Acnologia. Because all the Dragon Gods have been really different. They all been really different from each other, and they give us just like a general different side of the story and like where areas that they try to overcome Acnologia and kind of move on with their lives. Because his memories, yeah, I think that's why it'd be the most interesting for him. Let's see. I don't want to skip over stuff. Cool stream at Rax. Oh, thanks, man. Do you think the Dragon Gods are protecting someone or someone from lesser? I don't think they know, because otherwise they would have brought it up. It'd be really weird if Mertzrobi was holding that information of like why, like he would not want them to continue their quest if it was something that directly benefits Eleftheria. Did I link chapter think Eden Zero will be probably like 300 something. Price Pappenbrook, isn't that the guy who voices Deku? Who do you think Asuka or Wendy would be big sister for Nashi? More than likely Wendy, because Natsu is to Wendy what Laxus is to Natsu, so you would have to have something like like for Wendy. It would either be Wendy or actually it's the only character I could really say. Maybe Asuka, but like age wise. But at the same time, like assuming it'll be Nashi or Nasha, whatever, she, like, just from the sheer potential and, like, who her parents would be, should overshadow Asuka very quickly. Because, like, Asuka, unless she gets, like, a lost magic or something, she's just going to have guns magic. Rebecca's power is overpowered. All of Mishima's 3 female characters are overpowered. Lucy's is really broken if she can get to the extent that Anna got to. And I'm going to go over that in a video soon of just like Lucy's general potential. Would you live in One Piece or My Hero? I mean, living in My Hero is pretty much living in the world that I already live in, but I get a superpower. I definitely would probably pick that. Because if I live in the One Piece world, I'm going to have to look at a lot of the weird One Piece shaped characters, and that would be very strange just wandering around, and like everywhere I go somebody's gonna like have some like super weird shape, and I'm just gonna always be like, where's this fucking guy from? Because some of Oda's like weird designs look really nice, and then some of them are just it'd be so odd to see that translate into real life. Speaking of Ruby Cinder gets owned by Watts. Did that happen? I might have to watch that clip. Universe made by me. What do you mean? Archive magic would be most used. Yeah, you have. It's pretty much the internet. To be honest, I feel like last 100 years capture was rushed to me. That was the point, though. The whole point was it was a complete halt into the hype, and it was about Selene being upset and Selene not getting what she wanted, and Selene being bored and what falls after that. Do you think Wendy can remove cursed devil fruit powers? I don't know about. I think like curses probably, like devil fruits, it would depend entirely how it works, but she probably could, just based off like what we've seen Irene's extent can do. Because, like, the separation enchantment, and if she can do stuff to somebody on a genetic level, like how Dragon Force and Dragon Slaying Magic works, then it's a possibility. I think Ziggy versus Jaguar happened. That'll be really cool. I want to see Jaguar fight so bad. Like, Jaguar was up there with me on just characters I want to see perform. The one that I wanted to see the most of in Eden Zero just fight was definitely Justice, because I wanted to see what his Ether Gear was like. But Jaguar is the one that I want to see next. Like, he's my biggest person next that I want to see just how their ether works. Like, I want to see Callum just because it's cool atomic powers, but I want to see, I really want to see what exactly Jaguar can do. The little girl from Aruna, like she's really weird because I have absolutely no idea what Mishima's got planned for her. Like when he starts actually showing us where she's gonna tie in the plot, like if we get like information about her that's some way important somehow, that'll be where we can start kind of working stuff together. But right now it's just like who knows what the point of her is. I want Gray to shine, but honestly, giving up hope. No, you just gotta wait till an actual like fight for Gray, because I thought it was gonna be a Gray focused chapter, but like the whole point was that the hype that Selene like set up and wanted got cut, and she was upset and very very displeased, and now we're seeing a side to Selene of her not getting what she wants, and we're gonna see what a bored Selene is capable of, which I am very excited for, because like I said, I think fleshing out Selene is more important than just getting flashy fights, when we know there's flashy fights that are going to happen in this arc. I don't think this excited Sonya. It was, no, it's Sonya, because Sonya came through the Eclipse Gate. She was the sixth one, and it's colored after her style, and I'm pretty sure it's confirmed in the novel that connects to it as well. I think it's under his quest now, but it's coming out. For like an anime, or what do you mean? Because I don't know when they're going to do like an announcement like that. I mean, the next chapter is a week from Tuesday. Wait, I read that. You think wait, I read this. I think Lucy is a young adult, late 20s, early 30s, with power up to create its Zodiac Key. I'm going to talk about stuff for Lucy and the Celestial Spirit King soon. That's one of the videos I've got coming up. I'm going to talk about Lucy's potential and why I think she will be able to summon Celestial Spirit King. But I'm not going to go too much into it here because I don't want to give away any of my information before that one, because I actually really want to talk about that video, give Lucy some hype. The One Piece world is not a good place to live. I feel like it'd be really easy if you just lived on some random island and you wouldn't have to really worry about a lot of like crazy stuff happening. Because it seems like most of the big stuff happens on very lore important islands. So if you just lived on random ass island Magoo, you're probably never even going to like see some of these guys run into you. And even if they show up on your island, you could just avoid them. Let's see. Last comment I saw was Schmoodles. I know Yuno's going through a lot, but hasn't really smiled Asta. He was a little bit nicer in the previous chapter when he was like showing that he believed it. Like he had a lot of confidence in Asta protecting the Clover Kingdom. Anything that will get info on the 18 battle gods? I hope so. I really want to know if like Mishima's gonna do anything with them or the Akuma people in general. Like he could easily just throw it on like a side villain or something. Like he could give one of the other characters a spinoff. Give a spinoff to the Strauss siblings or Gildarts. Like imagine if Gildarts had a spinoff and one of the bad guys he fought summoned a bunch of the 18 battle gods, summoned like 10 of them or something with all their own crazy abilities and stuff. And then you see Gildarts like taking down, like just smashing each of them, taking them all down, and taking one of these guys down. We got to see a bunch more of them, maybe finding information on them, all while seeing Gildart's hype and flex. Like there's a lot of times where they could do it. Like I wish Mishima would expand on some of these things in spin-offs for other characters, because like you could do a spin-off on the Strauss siblings and have the main villain be like a demon slayer, and have like, or I'm just gonna go back to saying Devil Slayer. They said Devil Slayer in the anime. I've seen it translated as both demon and Devil Slayer in the manga, and it makes like I don't want to say Demon Slayer. Every time I think of the series, Kimetsu no Yaiba, but like you could have like a character like be a Devil Slayer, and then maybe find a lore on Devil Slayer magic, and then we can have a character with it relates is maybe they want to go after Mirror Jane or something because she is she has demon devil powers and stuff with her takeover. I don't know. It could be something like that was one of those things that I always really wish Mishima would do. Like he's done it before, like Ice Trail. You did it in the Twin Dragon Sabretooth, Road Knight with Gagio, stuff with Laxus and Thunder Gods. Like any of those, like they've done really well at just giving us expansions outside of what the main cast and the main story is doing, and it does with characters obviously that people like. But we haven't had that in a while. I'm really hoping they start doing that again. Like they don't have to do as many, but if we could just get a couple and like say again, lore on something that exists in it, or something like seeing the battle gods and stuff, it'd be really cool. Which next couple chapters focused on Shura hunting down Ziggy. I really want to see that confrontation of Ziggy and Shura, because I don't think Shura's going to do anything to Ziggy. Like the oceans against the dark stars is one thing, but like Ziggy should be able to be way stronger than him. I think Nero Poseidon Ether Gear is. It's probably something water based. I mean, his name is Poseidon Nero. Like he's got Poseidon's name, got out of the ocean. Like he's a fish man. I think Natsu could replace Ward as Emperor of Ishgar upon his retirement. Natsu's already stronger than all of the Wizard Saints. Natsu should be number, like if they were gonna rank, like if you were gonna rank even like the strongest people again in all of Ishgal, like most of them are in Fairy Tail, and then you have like Jalal. Because like outside of them, like who else were like the big people in the war outside of like outright like Fairy Tail members? Jalal, obviously. If you want to count Sting and Rogue as like a combo, but honestly, Sting and Rogue would both be well into Wizard Saint level already. But like almost none of the characters that are currently in there are going to be in there. And then like the characters that are in there that are at the top are going to be pushed so much further down because they couldn't do anything to a Spriggan. I feel like Shura is going to screw over Nero. It won't surprise me. Think Kunai will come back? Oh no, we don't need her back. No, she can stay gone forever. We don't need her. Let's see. For the 15th anniversary. Oh, for if they announce anything, I'm surprised they haven't already. Like, wasn't the 15th anniversary of Fairy Tail like at the start of the month? Lewis, I'd have to look in when the anime started. Somebody said it was the start of February, and that's when we're going to get an announcement for 100 Years Quest anime, but I don't know. I don't think Natsu cares about being an emperor. Yeah, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about any ranks like that. If it was like a tournament and then like the winner got to have it, he would probably care about that. How do you think Zeref would have interacted with Ignia given that he's not... I don't really know, because it's like, he would probably try to see if Ignia could kill him, and then if he couldn't, he would probably want to, like, he'd probably try and start, want to take down Ignia so he couldn't kill Natsu and stuff. Let me see. Theories on Laguna? I think Laguna is going to end up betraying them. I think we're gonna spin off about Ziggy and the Shining Star. I don't know about that. Like if we got an Eden Zero spinoff, it'd probably be on like stuff with Jin or something, like seeing Jin do shit. If we got just like Ziggy spinoff and we got to see stuff that he's doing like in this plot while other stuff's going on, I'd be pretty hyped about that. In the world, which would you join besides Fairy Tail? Oh, like any of them that are active, because if you gave me all the guilds in the series and not joining the Fairy Tail Guild, I'm joining Tartaros, man. Ziggy passed his power on to Shura. Just because he's capable. He was nice at the time. Unless he's like Eisening up like I wanted somebody that I actually taught to have a rival one day. Anything about reading the novels? I haven't read much about the novels. Sabretooth seems like a nice guild now. Yeah, they seem pretty chill. The anime started in August. Was it in August? Well, maybe we'll get an announcement around then, around there too. Somebody said February, and the thing that really confused me is like I think it would be a bad idea to announce 100 Years Quest anime or anything Fairy Tail anime related before Eden Zero anime came out, because then it would overshadow the stuff about Eden Zero. And when you think about it, Eden Zero is coming out in March. Who knows how many episodes it'll be? But let's say it'll be like 24 episodes. Like, but that would mean by like Eden Zero's anime would be close to like done with like its first season. But like around August if they announced 100 Years Quest anime. That would make much more sense though if they're planning to do it later this year rather than like in February when it seemed like people were saying something like February 6th or something, February 8th or whatever. So that'll make me happy if it is later this year, because I really do want to see 100 Years Quest anime, and I'm hoping they do it seasonal because they can't have too much, because obviously like they can't catch up to the manga. It'd be very bad considering it's bi-weekly if they caught up, because then it would just go on massive hiatus until they could catch up, or a ton of filler. Whereas like if they do seasonal and it's like every year they do like one of the arcs, it should be fine. It would take a little bit more in some of the areas, obviously, because then you have like the size of Alderon's arc versus Mersphobia's arc, and however long this arc's going to be. Jujutsu Kaisen anime or series ends in 2 years makes sense. I'm very curious to know if it might get extended because it's one of those series that it's doing so well, and as long as the author could think of a way to extend it logically and not just for the sake of extending it, I'd be perfectly fine with it. But who knows? Not to ever teaches kids Dragon Slaying. Oh, 100%. Who created Slayer magic in general? As far as we know, the first one would be Irene. It's who made the other ones that are are very interesting. Well, kind of new Dragon Slayer generation. So I think it'll be first, because first generation Dragon Slaying magic, you're learning it. The thing is, you're learning how to perform the magic, and each of the generations at a core level is obtained through a different means, and that's one of the big things about it. Like, I don't think you have to learn it from a dragon for a first gen. I think you just have to learn it. Like, I think El of Saria, even though he's self-taught, I think he would be a first generation Dragon Slayer. I think Urza's some level of Dragon Slaying magic. No. And I believe that like when she's using her Dragon Slayer sword, that she is technically a Dragon Slayer, but I think that's what 4th gen is. Is 4th gen is Dragon Slaying magic through an outside source. It's kind of like how you look at 2nd gen. It's like a dragon source inside your body is implanted, versus like 4th gen, I'm guessing, is outside. Because otherwise, what is it? The thing about the 4th gen, and what we know about the 4th gen is they were in constructs. They were in their quantum knights, or however the name. I can't remember if it's quartum, like quartz. I don't know, whatever. But they're an inanimate object with Dragon Slaying magic put into them. That's my guess of it, though. The moment Elsie appears in episode 2 of it. So I talked to Quan about that. Quan Credible is the Eden Zero. The Eden Zero slander on the anime is going to continue until around, I'm guessing, episode 4 or 5. Because I think it's going to be the generic stuff in episode 1 of like, oh, it's Fairy Tail in space, whatever. And then it's going to probably quiet down. And then Elsie, it's going to flare up with Elsie. And then after Elsie, it's probably going to go down. Because the next time we see Elsie, she's actually like the space pirate side of her. She's an antagonist. So anybody who actually knows Urza is going to differentiate her from Urza immediately after that point. Whereas, like, the first time we see Elsie, it's just like she's mostly just standing around doing her thing. 2022 year of Mashle anime. I hope so. That'd be sick. Rex, do you think 100 Years Quest has surpassed ours? Potentially. If all of 100 Years Quest, like, continuously just keeps getting better and better and better as it's been, I think overall it's been really good. I've really been enjoying it. I've really enjoyed the pacing and how Mishima has been writing and keeping everything consistently flowing. It's got the potential to. It really depends on like how he also handles, like, the action stuff seems pretty fair. Obviously, like, the importance and like plot events. The things that it will depend on, like, it leading up to Tartarus level stuff, is how he's able to put character emotion on top of everything else. Because that was one of the big things about Tartarus, is like the level of character movement that pretty much the entire main cast got. And Ignia is one of the big factors for me in this, because I think Ignia has a high character potential for Natsu, and like depending on what he does with Ignia's character, Natsu keeps his thought. So I don't think it was thought projection by Natsu. I think that's what he thought it was, like his belief was. It actually had to do with like a soul resistance, because he should have immunities to pretty much any of Zeref's major abilities and stuff, so he can counter Zeref, not just from burning magic, but also at a core level. That's why I believe that he can keep going when time is stopped, because Zeref can stop time. So if from Zeref's perspective, Natsu would need to be immune to time stop and kind of follow people into time stop if he would ever actually means to kill him. And that's how I think the same thing with soul manipulation, because Zeref has soul manipulation. It's just something that I believe personally, like, it hasn't been outright stated. I don't think it's straight soul thought projection, because thought projection doesn't work that way. And I've always thought it's just like that's how Natsu just believes it, kind of how it happened. Natsu learned to control E and D. Oh, I 100% think he will by the end of this. Natsu shall be born with Dragon Slaying attribute. It's kind of like a potential thing, because we know that there are people that are born with aspects of magic, but it's not very common. Like, we know that Mirajane had takeover and stuff without her knowing it, as well as like how August was born with so much magic, that of both light and dark magic. On top of that he just remembered everything from birth. What kind of magic do you think the Diablo's Guild Master has? I don't really know. I'm just guessing it's like a mineral or gem or something because he's got like the diamond looking pieces on his gauntlets, on his like cuffs. But that's as much as I know. I'm in kind of guess with a lot of them. I've been wondering where Mishima gets like his like where he's basing a lot of the ideas around them from, or if he's just kind of like thinking cool, like, oh, I'm just gonna have like this is a cool idea for a Dragon Slayer and be it, because the Dragon Gods themed are off of the Seven Luminary Days, and I personally think that he's getting Diablos members off of like concepts of monsters from Monster Hunter. That's my belief right now, just kind of on some of the sets, but we'll see. Like that's just a small theory I have. Like unless we see more like concrete proof, or if we see like, or if Mishima just outright says it. But otherwise, until then, like it's a big question on like the extent of where he's gonna go with some of them. Because otherwise, we could like look at character. Like if he says like, oh, I got the ideas for Diablos members from Monster Hunter, then we'd be able just to kind of like look at aspects of members of Diablos, look for like where it kind of like lines up in something like Monster Hunter, like its character lists, and then kind of like work theories around that, which would be really fun if so. I think Mishima said that he'll be using something akin to celestial fire magic. That was like a like kind of like a off the top of his head thing. See, he mentioned when he did the characters that day that it was mostly just of how he, you know, he pretty much just winged it like on spot. Could easily just be that. Could be something more. Could be something completely different. Who knows? Urza as a 4th generation Dragon Slayer sword. That's what I think it is too. I think that's how 4th gen is gonna end up being explained. Fuego Leonor Nozel for Wizard King. I think Fuego should be the Wizard King, because I think Nozel is better like leading the charge out in battle, whereas I think Fuego Leon would be a better defender at home for the Clover Kingdom. Thoughts on Joker and the Justice League Snyder Cut? It looks interesting. I'm really looking forward to watching the Snyder Cut. It's gonna be 4 hours long. What chapter do you think Black Clover? Could you think Black Clover Spade arc end at? Since it looks like the arc will be wrapping up soon after. Wait, what? Do you think the Spade arc? It looks like the arc could be wrapping up soon after chapter 283. No way. It would have to be easily past 300. And on top of that, like we're just getting started in like the bigger meat of like this arc. With Natsu being a former demon and dragon, do you think that it will affect Natsu? Maybe. Actually, that's a good point. Like if his kid is born with like something different about him, because like Natsu isn't entirely human. I think it's possible for Urza to create an anti-magic sword. She has one. She has Nakagami. It's like it's a dispelling magic. It's pretty much the same thing. She has an anti-magic armor set. Do you present Natsu could pose a threat to August? With Dragon Force, yeah. Because with Dragon Force, he's just burning through all of August's spells. Can August copy Dragon Slayer magic? He could, but it would go up to like... It would really depend on the extent, though, of Natsu being obviously a different case because of his Etheria side and everything. I want Jujutsu Universe to expand more on in limited series like Volume 0. I would really like some spin-offs like that, too. That'd be fun. I think Sister tops anyone needs Zero and Fairy Tail given their personality. What? No. Not going on and cut through magic, right? It's like a dispelling magic, yeah, but it can affect magic at like the base root of it. Urza versus Elise. Do you mean Elsie? Because Urza bodies. Do you think Dimension Slash would tickle Aldrin? No. Absolutely not. Here's the thing. So one, it wouldn't work because like it's magic and you're using it as a dragon. But like it when I explained the idea, when I was talking to a couple guys about like the fights recently, it'd be like if you put Yami versus Makarov, the biggest Makarov we saw, the one way back in Sirius Island, Makarov could still get hurt by Dimension Slash. It's going to go through, but like think of the size that Dimension Slash is going through him. It's going to be like just cuts, essentially. It's pretty much just going to be deep cuts. Think of how big Alderaan is. He's not going to notice that. Like there's a story if you look it up. I can't remember the exact description, but like this guy, I don't know what year it was. He was like, there were like scientists doing something with like what is it? Kind of like the Hadron Super Collider, I think it is. where they like this guy pretty much had this particle shot through his head at I don't know if it was at light speed or what, but it actually went through his head. He has a very tiny scar of it, but it's so small, like it didn't, like he couldn't, like it's not like it was like a bullet where it was just like, you know, made a big enough hole that he's bleeding out and dying and stuff. It was so microscopic that he felt it sort of, but it, like he lived. It like didn't do anything to him majorly. I think he just described it, felt like the feeling of it, and then it kind of, you know, it left a scar essentially. But that's how that's pretty much what it would happen with like Dimension Slash. Even if he could hit Alderaan with it, it wouldn't do anything. It would kind of just cut, and then that's it. He would probably just heal instantly too. Nakagami armor negate anti-magic? No. Because it dispels magic. It's not going to matter against it. But like Urza's just going to put Asta in the dirt. Like, he'll be fine. Who's stronger, Justice or Drac and Joe? I'd guess Drac and Joe. We haven't seen obviously the extent. We haven't seen the like overdrive and everything for Justice. The thing though about Drac and Joe is we have to assume that they're around the same power level. They're around the same strength. And Drac and Joe is just so much more hacks that all he has to do is touch you. He turns into stone. And he can affect ether, so... Well, scaling to Ziggy wouldn't matter for Urza. People need to actually like look into the sizes of the planets before they like try and gauge strength levels for like Ziggy and stuff. Because Forestra isn't that big. We don't know how big Grand Bell is. The planets in Eden Zero have varied in size a lot, and similar to how Forestra was, Grand Bell doesn't look very big. It was literally it's like a one-town planet, whereas like Blue Garden looks huge. Blue Garden, you know, looks like it's a potential possibility of being Earth-sized. Where and then you get like planets like that. Amir was on that like desert planet, and then Zhao Mei's planet and stuff. You definitely gotta know how big they are. Alderaan to be reborn through a seed. I am very curious about that because that's one of the things I've wondered too. Is if he actually died or if like he maybe did some like plant shenanigans to get away. I'm kind of cool with either as long as it's explained. But at the same time, I'm fine if he's dead. We get a conversation between Ziggy and Xenolith. Well, Xenolith said that he didn't want to, like, that he couldn't fight Ziggy in his current state. Given he ate the space between time, do you think Agnologia would have survived the Neoclipse or whatever? A bit much for him. Well, the Neoclipse works differently, but Acnologia might have been fine. Normal Acnologia probably not. Like, space between time Acnologia probably would have been, like, it probably would have reversed time, but, like, left him unaffected by it. Because it's not like Acnologia is just full immune, but he would consume it. Like, if a chronophage flew to the Fairy Tail planet, Acnologia could probably eat it. So their stated the eclipse would destroy Acnologia. No, so he was going to go back in time. They were going to go back in time before Acnologia became that powerful and take him down. That was part of the Eclipse Gates plan back in the Grand Magic Games too, is they thought that like time traveling back and doing it before Zareth became immortal and obviously Acnologia became powerful. They were a similar kind of mindset, but Zareth was just going to kind of jump the gun and do that. The thing is, like, all he really needed to do, like, all you would have to do to prevent Acnologia is run into the original Acnologia when he went to go check out Dragon Slaying Magic and say, don't do it. Don't go over there. Just trust me. And then he would fly back to his village, to Monte Secreta. He never ends up turning on the humans, and the Doctor never becomes the genocidal dragon Acnologia. You think Noah and Rebecca are siblings? I hope not. What's up, Savage Kenny? How are you doing, man? There's, let's see. I already read that. Think Rebecca's a princess from the Kaede Cosmos? I don't think so, no. Do you think Frieza is going to team up with Goku again to fight Granola? No. And I'm hoping that Granola ends up killing Frieza. Like, Frieza coming back, I still think was such a questionable thing in the plot. Because it's like, why would you let him do what he's doing? Like, Frieza's going around attacking worlds and enslaving people. Why would anyone bring him back and let him go do that? I always thought that just doesn't really make sense. Like letting back Frieza would be like if some event happened and that we brought Hitler back and let Hitler go out and do his thing again. It's just like, why? Take him out. Like, somebody go after him. He's a bad guy. He's an outright bad guy. And just because we get like a funny short joke with him in the Broly movie doesn't mean that we should forget that he is a genocidal planet enslaving dude. Like, he is a horrible like, Frieza is in zero way a redeemable person. Frieza was bad in every aspect of who he was. There was nothing about Frieza that's good. The only thing about Frieza that you can kind of like see as not an evil thing is like, oh, haha, he has a thing about being short. That's it. Frieza is a bad person. And Frieza should not be allowed to go about his thing. Like, think about this. The entire time since Frieza came back after the Tournament of Power and everything, he's been going around enslaving planets and attacking people. Why? Why are they letting him do this? Dragon Ball Supers bothers the hell out of me. Here's a challenge for you, Rex. End a Kaido vs. Aknologi discussion in one sentence. Aknologi just rips him. Aknologi literally walks up to him, rips him in half. Like, there doesn't have to be a fight. Think about God Serena versus Kaido. That's what happens. Or not, sorry, God Serena versus Aknologia. That's what happens to Kaido. It's immediately what happens. He tears through him. Kaido would have no idea what happened to him. What did Ziggy do with still playing little feet? No, because the planet was small. It's like 13 kilometers wide. Show me a Grand Bell scaling that's as big as Earth. I'd like to see the scaling. I'll look at the scaling, but show me the scaling. Like, I scaled Forestra. It's like 13 kilometers wide. It's small. Why aren't you scaling? Rex, can you do a timeline video for Fairy Tail 400 years ago? I actually eventually want to do a timeline video, yes. But that's going to take me a while because the timeline is so weird at times. And you would have to always include general time skips because something like what happens over the 7-year time skip, why, and you have to... Like, one of the weird things about the timeline is that some characters don't experience, like, gaps of time. It says Alderaan walking away from fighting Aknologia. Oh, he didn't... It's very clear. He ran away initially, and 100 years in, he went back to go fight him. Either he went to go fight him, or Aknologia found him. But I think he went to go fight him. The fact he survived is a W. The fact he at some point faced Aknologia and didn't die is a W. Because I think all the dragons that clearly that's not the case. Aknologia was out ripping people in half and like splitting dragon skulls like Kit Kats, man. I think the animation in Eden Zero will be on par with Jizukai. I mean, that's high hopes. I'm hoping we could get like a couple scenes that can maybe kind of like live up to that. Because one of the things, obviously, about Eden Zero that Mishima's talked about is he really wants to see how Shiki moves around with anti-gravity. And we could get some really cool, just general POV scenes of Shiki just flying around and, you know, doing anti-gravity stuff. But we'll see. Do you think Natsu would absolutely demolish Estheth? Yeah, it wouldn't be a fight. Natsu completely kills her. Can I post links in chat? At me on Twitter. Because I'm gonna end the stream in a second. It's been 2 hours. But yeah, other than that though, like I said, we'll have like a little bit of a closing, and I can do one more shameless plug for anybody who hasn't yet subscribed to the channel. Thumbs up the video if you've enjoyed my stream. If you want to donate $1 to me or whatever, much appreciated. If you're not, that's okay. You guys showing up in general is always a plus. And obviously, like, it's just in general, like, people just show up. That helps, you know, for the channel algorithms and whatnot. How fast is Natsu? So, I mean, like, in base, Natsu should be way faster than light. Like, it's actually ridiculous. Like, I'll end on this as, like, a really good thing. Because the thing about Fairy Tail when it comes to, like, the bigger characters is that their raw power and durability might not be crazy, but their speed and hacks usually are. And that's one of the dangerous things about, like, Fairy Tail and stuff. Is like, so you can be, like, a character like Satoru who's very hacks, but if he's really slow in comparison to some of these bigger characters, then what's he going to do? But, like, Natsu in Grand Magic Games casually could dodge Sting's Roar, which is stated to be a laser. It is light and holy, so it has the dragon light aspect to it. Dragon light is superior to natural light. And on top of that, we see stuff like pre-skip guild arts before he lost his limbs to Aknologia could casually outspeed light, like nothing. Like nothing. And then we see people mark gear, completely just no diss Sting's Roar. Like, it's just, yeah, whatever. Just bops it off to the side. And then, like, some of the bigger, like, speed feats, like the dragons going around all of Ishgal within, like, a couple of seconds across countries. Like, keep in mind, the smallest country in Ishgal is, like, the size of Russia. Like, their continent is huge. And, like, what is this? We have Kana Gray, Urza, Natsu, and Strauss. Somebody joined Fairy Tail, or is that Strauss and Natsu? I'd have to look exactly when some, because I know Kana obviously joined first, Gray and Urza, because we know when Urza joined, Gray had already been a part of it. We actually see the first scene of Natsu kind of like entering the guild at the end of Ice Trail, so that's actually one of the better places I could look. Because Natsu, I believe, was in the guild before that. I haven't really put a bunch of. It's one of those weird things because it's always been noted of like when characters join the guild, and obviously Kana's like one of the only ones I always remember just in order of joining, because I've never put a ton of effort towards that of like just join order outside of the obvious ones when you see like Lucy and then like Gajil, Juvia, and then like Wendy and stuff. And then, newest being Ferris and Toka, which are the weird ones. I'm very curious to how they're gonna continue on after this one. Does Makarov use light magic? He does have light magic, yeah. I said to see people downloading Fairy Tail speed feats. Yeah, like I said, speed feats, speed and hacks are ridiculous. And it'll be way more clear when I go over it in when I do videos on like the characters on power, like same powers but ranked in order, and you'll see what I mean. Like, speed-wise and hacks are usually where they get ridiculous. Because it's like, when you see someone like Selen, and, she's to scale up to, like, Acnologia and stuff, she should be at least a world-level threat, way faster than all these other characters, but she's absurdly hacks on top of her speed. So it's like, if you were actually fighting someone like Selen, even if you are way more raw, more powerful than her, she'd snap her fingers. She doesn't have to snap her fingers. She just looks at you and teleports you to a different dimension. And she's fast enough to do it, and she has broken enough powers to do it. Do you think Selen the 5 Dragons ranking Ankh Saram? Possibly. Like, I'm really hoping Ankh Saram gets in there somehow. Natsu's the last one of them to join. I'm pretty sure Natsu joined after the Strauss siblings. I'd have to look, because I don't entirely remember on that, though. Again, that's one of those things that it's mostly expanded upon in something like Gray's flashback, or Gray's spinoff, and I haven't read that in a while. But I need to, because it's one of the things, like, for certain, like, small things, I don't, like, if I don't think that there's, like, I don't explore them as much if it's not something that will lead to, like, larger stuff later. Like, I mentioned this the other day, it's like, I always mess up, like, certain character color schemes. Like, I forget Jalal's eye mark is actually black and not red, because in the anime it's red, and I just remember it in the anime more than I do in the manga, because obviously most of the time in the manga you just see it in black and white. Or, like, Gash Bell's mantle is actually green, Rangiku is actually blonde. Most of the time I just forget, like, color schemes and stuff like that, because I just don't, they don't pop on my mind as much as, like, thinking about stuff in the lore and thinking about, like, future events and things that could come back where certain plot lines are moving and whatnot. I would like to meet more Devil Slayers, but I think it'd be best to see that in spin-offs and stuff. Also, I was surprised by Sting. Sting was surprised by Gray's Ice Devil Magic instant against Mark. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was impressive. I think it's stronger Naruto or Sasuke. Probably Naruto now. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream. Once again, thanks everyone for showing up. I'm going to get back to normal streams Saturday, and I'm thinking of doing a second stream day, and I don't know if I want to do it every week or maybe every other week. Maybe start doing streams on days 100 Year Quest chapters come out. That's what I was thinking, and just kind of maybe like talking about the the Raws and stuff, because we could also then we'd also be able to talk about like Eden Zero and Four Nights the Apocalypse, because I do like Four Nights the Apocalypse, and I might start doing some videos on those as well. Outside of chapter reviews, like I might start doing more stuff with that in Eden Zero. I don't know. Like, I guess anytime I have any theories, because like I used to do way more Black Clover theories, but I just haven't had any ideas for Black Clover theories recently. And like I did that Lucifaro one a couple weeks ago, but that's because I had theories and ideas on it. I just haven't had as many on the current events, because most of the things that are current that come up had like either one of the other Black Clover guys either is already doing something that's probably better than what I thought of, or it's I don't know, or it's just kind of answered immediately in the manga, or I like miss it or something. But we'll see. I want to do more theories on stuff and more just kind of videos talking around ideas, because that's the fun part when it comes to
doing videos on these series. Is just like when you have an idea, maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. I personally think that it is going to be Suzaku in the next chapter, and it's going to be really cool just because I noticed when I was doing the review, like the way that it was formatted in the silhouette in that end page, and I'll be really excited if that is him, because I've been really wanting to see him. Plus, it would be really cool that I figured it out, just beforehand. It's always fun to figure stuff out by paying attention to stuff that's happening and being able to put together clues. But anyway, other than that, they'll comment below. If you have any other questions, just drop it to me on Twitter. Same name. Follow me on there. Subscribe and whatnot if you haven't. If you're listening to this stream later or what. Like I said, try and do these every Saturday. Sometimes I miss them, but hopefully I can get back to the consistency of doing them, and then maybe a second day of streaming. Because I do random like Friday streams sometimes, but I kind of want to have like a second stream day. But we'll see. I'm thinking Tuesdays, like on chapter release dates for 100 Years Quest, maybe do a afternoon stream or something. Because I don't think any of the other guys that I interact with, like other YouTubers, I don't think they do streams on Tuesdays. Because usually Josuke's Sunday and Thursday, sometimes Friday, and then like Quan's usually Wednesday, and then Faith is sometimes like every other day, sometimes he's every day. Who knows with him? But we'll see. J Cloud never streams. Roku I don't think ever streams. Sammy's is usually like, because he lives in a different country, so like his is usually like way like. But I think his, I have to look up the hour gap, but I know like for him like in the afternoon is like 8 a.m. for me. So usually by the time if I like wake up on a Saturday, he's usually done, or on a Sunday and stuff. But anyway, other than that though, let me see this. Rex, how do you feel about the? I already answered this about the new Zakura family chapter. I liked it. I thought it was good. You must have missed it when I was talking about it earlier. Is there any new way people support character with the budget? I have no idea. Tartarus are all doing an arc? Oh, Tartarus, 100%. But the thing about the Dragon Gods is they're like one bit like story with multiple parts to it. Theirs is more like a saga rather than like one arc. Let's see. Anyway, I'm gonna end it. Talk to you guys later. Like I said, Saturday next time. Atlas Flame video hopefully coming up soon, and Shonen Jump chapters tomorrow. So everyone, thanks for showing.